It is that time. Time for Stiles and Watkins.
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140. Find us on YouTube at Sacktown Sports 1140.
It's time for Alan Stiles and Chris Watkins.
Yes. On a Monday, Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. Simone behind the glass for us today on a beautiful Monday. No case of the Monday. Is going to be great weather all week, Chris. So that is something to look forward to. And as we talk about how the Sun will be here, it will not be in the playoffs anymore as the Suns get swept by the T-Wolves. We have all that to break down. Will the Lakers get the gentleman's sweep tonight against the Nuggets as the Nuggets head back to Denver? Oh, my gosh. The elevation. Right. The Lakers don't have a chance now. So technically speaking, right?
We're trying to figure it out still.
Both teams should have to deal with the elevation because they've both been gone. Right, based on what we read about this,
it lasts.
And was it Kyle? We were reading about this and how it doesn't last that long. So unless Denver is on a long homestand, they would both be coming back and have to reacclimate to the elevation.
Right, but they're not going to mention that on the broadcast. They're just going to say, "Oh, you can really tell the Lakers are feeling the effect.
They're huffing and puffing."
Even if Denver also has their hands on their knees, it's going to be, "Oh, the Lakers look really shook by that elevation." You can't forget they've got the 5280 on their chests, it's a constant reminder that they're at elevation. So excited for that tonight. Always good. I don't know, one of the best days of the year is the day when the Lakers get eliminated for sure. That hate definitely still runs deep over here, and it's going to be, I know we're going to talk a lot about Phoenix today, but the Lakers definitely are going to have themselves a very, very interesting offseason, especially if they lose today. I think it's a gentleman's sweep. Still will probably feel the same to those Laker fans. And, that's kind of the funny thing about the playoffs is everybody fights and claws their way to get in here. And then in a weird way, a week and a half can take away all the good feelings, all the positive momentum that you've built towards the season. And it all just goes by the wayside the second that your season is over and people are able to fully react to how it is. And we obviously saw a piece of that here in Sacramento, but things aren't as dire here in Sacramento as they are over in Club Phoenix. And I think things are going to get pretty spicy in LA if for both LA teams, honestly, if they lose this series. So, step closer tonight.
Yeah, Carrie Champion, who has been, all over the sports world for years now, went to UCLA. I believe she is a Laker fan. She says this 3 minutes ago, and it's blowing up already. Ooh. Just got a text from my friend.
Okay.
He says tonight is LeBron's last game in purple and gold.
No
now, that's
way.
Full-blown speculation. Yeah. Carrie's just saying my friend. We assume that she really means a source. Right. She's just trying to play it down a little bit. But if they lose tonight, will that change what Jovan Buha said to us, writer for The Athletic, for the Lakers, that next year would have been the year for LeBron to be on the move? Will that actually be this season based on the gentleman's sweep? And again, it's called a gentleman's sweep, but how else? I'm trying to think. The only difference in the gentleman's sweep is if you win the first game in LA and then lose the second. That one is more respectable to me than what the Lakers did. Because what the Lakers did is, this is our last hoorah. Right. They showed nothing that first game in LA. Right. So I think we can call it a gentleman's sweep, and I said this last week. This is a sweep. If they lose tonight, I'll put it to you like this. How much better should you feel? And I know two different opponents, but should Laker fans, if they lose tonight, should Laker fans feel any better than Suns fans? Not based on the roster. Yeah. Right? Not based on the roster, just based on the fact that they won one. Literally, they did win a game. They won one, and the Suns did not win one at all.
That's a good question. I would say probably Phoenix fans should still feel worse just because, the Phoenix really had the expectation of all. I would say both teams had the expectation definitely of going further, but at least the Lakers can say they ran into the defending champs. Of course, Minnesota looks terrific. We don't know how far Minnesota can go. They could end up reaching the finals. Absolutely. They're more than capable of doing that. But ultimately, at least the Lakers can say, like, oh, there's this one thing that's in our way, or else we would have done it. Phoenix got completely swept, and to a Minnesota team that, frankly, I mean, they don't have a ton of experience. Of course, they do have some experience, but I think Phoenix was a little bit more pot committed this year than the Lakers were, even though both teams definitely were pretty committed to making this year work. I mean, Phoenix literally was championship or bust, and they made the 6th seed and got eliminated in a sweep. So I not that either team should really be feeling great, but I would say Phoenix is probably, especially, maybe this is a little bit of recency bias because we're seeing a lot of the backlash now, but it feels like Phoenix just has a little bit more of all alarms going off with their loss.
Yeah, and we have sound from Woj on Frank Vogel's job. I mean, some of the people out here treat Mike Brown like he had Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and Devin Booker, and ended up getting swept. Okay, if you think about it, they were. And I know that depth is important, but I do think that this, and we'll get into it even deeper. I think this roster thing is maybe just being a little bit overblown with the Suns as to that being a reason.
Right.
Sure, you didn't have depth, but that still doesn't excuse the fact that. What are you saying? The starters are tired? I mean, what are we talking about? They still on paper have one of the best starting fives in the league. So we'll break all that down. When it comes to the NFL draft, huge numbers as far as the attendees for the NFL draft. Detroit, I don't know what it is about Detroit, Chris, but people came out in droves to hang out, to see people on day one, and to just hang out on day 2 and 3.
Seem like
hang out there. I mean, I haven't done the NFL
background
draft
of McAfee or something.
I haven't done the NFL draft. I don't know. Is there stuff to do? I know there was some music. You got food trucks out there. I don't know.
I guess
after day 1, but shout out to everybody who enjoyed themselves in Detroit, and we'll get into it. I mean, who would have thought that the Niners' biggest need going into this draft was ... wide receivers? I did not see that one coming at all. They got, 2 wide receivers, and when we talked about Pearsall with Emil Fergoso on Friday, they go out, they get another burner, they get a running back, because I think the Niners signed a deal with the NFL. Contractually, they have to draft a running back every season. And apparently, because it's the Niners, apparently this is the best running back that you could get in round 4. He runs, I think it's a 4, something ridiculous. He ran the fastest 40 for anybody 200 pounds or more as a running back. So he is a burner, but he's also a house. So he's this Frankenstein type running back. So that's who the Niners get as well. They do sign. They did not draft anybody for the offensive line, but they signed some guys. No tackles, but they did. I think they signed a tackle. I believe they
signed a tackle.
So we'll get into all that. And the Raiders.
Oh boy,
I don't understand. Now, I was on the Spencer Rattler train. I had a tweet from 2020 that I had found, and I was ready to retweet as soon as I heard Spencer Rattler to Vegas.
You were just you knew that he was going to be Derek Carr's backup. That's all that you could see. You were just like, I see Derek Carr and I see Spencer Rattler. The rest was a little blurry.
That's right. So yeah, he's now in New Orleans, which I don't think is a bad spot for Spencer Rattler. You get the dome, you get basically good weather all the time, depending on where you have to go. Derek Carr, Spencer, I mean, I saw some posts and some tweets and some people Derek Carr was blocking from New Orleans, Saints fans.
Really?
And they are not happy with Derek Carr and that contract. So I think that it's a wait. But is Jameis still there? I can't even keep up with Jameis. No, I don't think
so. He just
Jameis
left.
Is gone now.
I think he went to Cleveland or something. Jameis signed somewhere this offseason.
Jameis, he is with the Browns now. So he's with the Browns. So yeah, Derek Carr, maybe he, nobody wishes injury. Maybe he gets dinged up, or maybe he just is Derek Carr and doesn't play very well. Right. Spencer Rattler might have an opportunity.
He might, yeah. Who knows? I mean, I think. I mean, a lot of people thought Spencer Rattler was going to be like a first-round talent, and then, I mean, definitely the talent part never really panned out for a ton of different reasons. I mean, he ended up getting replaced at Oklahoma by freaking Caleb Williams.
Right.
So you could see how maybe that didn't go as planned. And then, I think especially around draft time, it seems like a lot of the high school stuff ended up popping up, especially his time in QB1, which I still need to watch. I know you got a peek of it, but that clip from that Netflix show definitely started circulating. And I do think that had a really heavy impact on where he ended up going.
We read that it did, and there were reports that it did, but that's crazy to me. That's pretty wild. This kid is in high school.
It's pretty wild, yeah.
And I'm sorry.
To not think that he could have, and I guess the counter is maybe they asked questions of his teammates or former teammates, and maybe he hadn't grown.
It's just nuts to me because I'm going to keep it real here. We're talking about the NFL.
Yeah.
Right? We're talking about the NFL here.
Which has its own set of issues that aren't just not being nice to
and nobody wants to touch a kid because he was the man in high school.
Right.
And
that's a good point.
He acted like the man in high school. You're really holding
the position where you could argue you should feel like the man.
Exactly.
Right?
So that's the thing in the NFL. That's a great point.
Too much bravado.
Too much bravado. But then don't be too modest either.
Right.
You're also 17. You're 17, maybe 18 years old. And that was held against him.
Yeah.
I don't know. We saw reports on that.
It's a good point.
It's
a really good point. Like, there's a lot of people who do a whole lot worse than, I mean, I think maybe I'm sure we can find the sound at some point where we're going to talk about it in greater depth, but like, it's not great audio, but I mean, like, it's not great that he said that, but
right.
Like you said,
he just called his guy trash.
He pretty much called his guy trash and he said his receivers were trash and said, you missed throws, which is why we lost the drill. And you could argue he's not wrong. It's just not the right way of going.
Where are those receivers now? Are any of them in the NFL?
Are
Probably
any of
not.
them in the NFL? And I thought we want guys who are competitors, right? I thought we want guys who are super competitive. And isn't that the thing that everyone was talking about? Michael Jordan made him great was that he was so competitive. He wasn't trying to make friends. Not that I'm saying Spencer Rattler is Michael Jordan, but it's just, to your point, it's really weird how we can pick and choose what's too much, what's too far.
This is from Ian Rappaport.
From high school. That's great.
This is a quote
that's a great point.
from Ian Rappaport during the draft as he was dropping. He ended up going in the 5th round. It did not make him look great, and it is unbelievable how many different teams mentioned to me the image of him in that show and how they can't get it out of their heads.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. It's definitely, and I don't think it's just that. I think it's the fact that you pour the college production and that leads to a 3rd, a 4th round pick. And then the attitude thing on top of it probably compounds and makes him into that 5th round pick. But it's kind of nuts because at the end of the day, this league has definitely shown, to your point, if you're talented, nothing else really matters. So maybe you could read this as, okay, maybe he's not actually as talented as what we once thought.
Then don't bring it up.
Exactly.
Then don't bring it up. I mean, character, you're talking about character issues. I mean, we're not talking about this kid going to jail.
Right, exactly.
Or anything like that. We're talking about character issues from high school, and it's just, I mean.
He's going to get humbled real quick in the NFL anyway.
I just think it's funny because how many guys have they drafted? This guy just thinks he's the man. And that's what we like about
Brandon Pajemski,
this guy. My goodness. He'd go number 1 overall in the
Steph's
NFL.
Backup.
There you go.
Steph's second splash brother.
Great pull right there. All right. When we return, we put the Suns to bed. The sun will set in Club Phoenix. You got to leave the club. Club's closed. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Hey there, wanted to take a moment of your time so I could talk to you about insecurity. I could talk to you about confidence. I could talk to you about girth. Yeah, what? Girth? Yeah, okay. Let me tell you about the Upsize Clinic at UpsizeMatters.com. My good friend, Dr. Jack, and his friend, Dr. Pash in San Francisco, have a safe, effective, long-lasting doctor-performed procedure. It's non-surgical, virtually pain-free. Now listen, girth is consistently ranked as the most important attribute. What Dr. Jack and Dr. Pash are offering is a free consultation. The procedure can be done on the same day as your consultation and get that confidence back. Reset in the bedroom with your partner. Financing is available. It's very private. It's very discreet. Available in Roseville with Dr. Jack and San Francisco with Dr. Pash at upsizematters.com. That's upsizematters.com.
The Timberwolves complete the sweep. They win a playoff series for the first time in 20 years. Minnesota on to the second round.
They are done. The Suns are done. Bradley Beal, 50 mil. Kevin Durant, future Hall of Famer. Devin Booker. Oh, my goodness. There are people at this station. They can't stop talking about Devin Booker. And the three of them did nothing. You couldn't even win a game.
Well, it was more Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal did nothing. Yesterday, I do have this crazy stat.
All three of them.
Most points by a duo in an elimination game in NBA postseason history. Devin Booker and KD yesterday had 82. That is the tied for the most all-time by a duo in an elimination game. Tied only with the iconic performance of LeBron and Kyrie in the finals in 2016. So
you did send that.
Just yesterday was not necessarily Book and KD's fault, but that's just one game. They still got swept in the series.
I mean, is the biggest piece of this that the Suns are nothing without Grayson Allen?
Possibly.
No Grayson Allen last night.
Grayson was big for him all year. Like that
man was dropping seven
46,
threes a game.
Yeah, he was on one all year long, and you can't just miss that, especially when Bradley Beal is missing everything. You need somebody else, and Grayson Allen, as crazy as it is, was really huge for that team this year, and you see how just missing one of those offensive weapons kind of killed him. Kind of killed them. And Grayson Allen's definitely not somebody who at the beginning of the season we thought would have that level of impact for this team. He was just kind of a throwaway from Milwaukee. But, dude, I would say Grayson Allen probably makes the difference, at least in the game of yesterday, because they just needed one other person to contribute, and they could probably sneak away with a gentleman's sweep. But ultimately, like we just talked about the Lakers, like, does that really matter? If you win one game, ultimately, I think the point is they got absolutely dominated.
The whole thing was a mess. This is Bradley Beal before Game 4. I've never been swept a day in my life. So I'll be darned if that happens. Well, you're darned.
Yeah.
And you're done.
And he didn't do anything to help. Bradley Beal yesterday, 4 of 13, 1 of 5, 9 points, 6 fouls, 6 turnovers in an elimination game.
6 fouls?
6 fouls, 6 turnovers. He fouled out, had 6 turnovers, had 9 points in an elimination game for his team with the season on the line and $50 million in his pocket.
I can't wait. I need to see a tweet from him. We got unfinished business. No, sir. No, sir, you do not.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Oh, he got something cooking.
Just wait for the Bradley
Beal offseason.
What is the line for saying unfinished business as a team, as a player? Does it have to be a championship? Right? Because that's a sell for Malik. A lot of people saying, hey, we missed the playoffs. We got unfinished business. What is appropriate for saying unfinished business?
For a player, players will do it whenever. It don't matter. You know, like Wemby's probably out here saying unfinished business.
No.
Scoot Henderson, unfinished business.
The Suns can't even say unfinished business.
Because their business is finished.
The business is finished. I'm trying to think who else here. I guess the Celtics could say it essentially every year.
Sure. Absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
I don't even know if the Heat can do it because the Heat weren't really supposed to be there.
Yeah, they've done their job. Miami has definitely done their job over the years.
Unfinished business.
Unfinished business.
Suns.
Probably Phoenix and Celtics, I think, are the right teams to say. I mean, Giannis maybe.
Lakers is just built in.
It's
just built in.
I mean, Lakers. They're always they're never finished, but. Yeah, I would say, there's definitely a line, but every NBA player is always going to say, "Oh we this is the loss for the great win later."
Everybody's got unfinished business, but only one team can finish the business.
That's how it goes.
That's it.
Every year.
The Warriors are probably thinking unfinished business.
Yeah, probably to an extent. To an extent, probably.
Didn't get in the playoffs. Oh man, we could have been dangerous.
Yeah.
Does this say to you that we talked about the two different lines, right? Between 1, 2, 3, right? As far as the seeds, 4, 5 was a step below tier 2. Literally, the tiers were the tiers, and everybody tried to convince themselves that their team was better than the tier that they ended up in, and ultimately, they're not. You have the Pelicans on the brink of getting swept. I think that was a spicy matchup. I think everybody thought that the Pelicans would at least get one, and maybe they do get one. But again, they're already 3-0. I would say one before, especially after game one, to get one before they went down 3-0. So the Pelicans could get swept. The Lakers are going to gentleman sweep, okay? And then you have the Suns who are already done. That's 6, 7, 8. Does that make you feel like it is what it is, or is there any purple lens in you that feels like if the Kings were able to not trick games off, they could have got spicy with someone, or do you think they would have got ran like these teams are getting ran?
They would have gotten ran. They absolutely would have gotten ran. Absolutely. I mean, why, like, how can
I'm just saying.
How can anybody out there realistically say that the Kings team that we watched all year long would have done any better than any of these other lower seeds that we're seeing today? Like, I don't know how, as a Kings fan, you realistically could say a team that we saw play up and down all year wasn't going to have Keegan Murray for game one, probably wouldn't have had Malik Monk for at least 2 games. How could you have said maybe the Kings pick up a win at home with the energy of Golden One Center? Maybe if Malik is coming back for one of those games, you have a ton of good energy. Maybe you get one. But there's no way this inconsistent Kings team was just going to pick it up after the performance. Even in the play-in, we saw who they were. Like, they went from really great performance, shots falling, to absolutely nothing could fall. I think your best hope is what Miami has done this series, where they had one game where they hit 25 threes or whatever, and they were able to beat the Celtics. But to me, that's realistically the only chance that the Kings had in this playoffs. I don't think there's any way, especially looking at how these teams have performed, I don't think the Kings could have gotten 2 to 3 games on realistically any of these top seeds.
The question becomes, if you feel the same way Chris feels, does it make you more at peace with how it ended, knowing that it's very obvious to everyone, even if Monty McNair didn't say everything you maybe wanted to hear in the exit presser, okay? Kyle Draper said the same thing. A lot of things that are said behind closed doors are not going to be said out loud. The bottom line is the belief is that the Kings know they need to make a splash. Does it make you feel any better that the Kings didn't make it into the playoffs with all the things that Chris just said? Because what if they get into the playoffs? What if they mess around and win a game? Okay, what if they lose a series 4-1 and the thought process in the building is, well, if we get Malik back, we don't have to make any other moves. What if Harrison Barnes balls out in one of the games? Okay? Does it make you feel any better about what happened, or are you still salty about how the season ended? 916-339-1140. All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop, breaking down the very tough situation that the Suns are in, including their head coach, Frank Vogel. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out sacktownsports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on sacktownsports.com.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
Miniature golf has been around America since 1916, with the first course opening in Pinehurst, North Carolina, according to Links magazine. Englishman James Barber built a course in his backyard called Lilliputian. A few years later, he built a second course and called it Thistledew. Unlike today's mini golf courses, Thistledew wasn't for children. The 18-hole course was made of compacted sand and clay, making it quite difficult. Today's clown mouths or windmills were nowhere to be found, as the course featured real hazards like rocks, trees, and grass bunkers. 4 holes even required a high-lofted niblick to carry bushes and long grass. Longest hole was 71 feet, shortest was 12. Golf fanatic Thomas McCullough Fairbairn revolutionized the game in 1922 with his formulation of a suitable artificial green consisting of a mixture of cottonseed hulls, sand, oil, and dye. 100 years later, This'll Do has returned to its home at Pinehurst Resort, and guests can play the new This'll Do. Please leave your niblick at home. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find. Happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
The Arnold Law Firm has seen how an injury can turn anyone's life upside down. Whether it's a slip and fall, a car accident, or any other kind of injury. For almost 50 years, the Arnold Law Firm has been here to help you through the entire process to protect you and your family. If you are ever injured or in an accident, call the Arnold Law Firm. The Arnold Law Firm, providing real justice for you since 1975. Call 916-777-7777. That's 916-777-7777.
So here's a fact. 85% of the population will suffer from foot pain in their lifetime. That's almost everyone. So you'd think there'd be plenty of healthy long-term remedies, but there just aren't, right? Hi, I'm Dan from the Good Feet store. You know, people come in all the time sharing the same frustrating story. Bought this, tried that, been there, done whatever, all different kinds of things, but all with a similar result. Nothing. A discouraging and endless cycle of disappointment. If this rings a bell, don't despair. There is hope. If you think you've tried everything, you probably haven't tried Good Feet arch supports from the Good Feet store. They're designed to relieve, even eliminate, the pain commonly caused by certain foot conditions like plantar fasciitis, bunions, flat feet, and others. Plus, provide better balance and increased comfort.
Do you have sore feet, an aching back, or plantar fasciitis? Then get to the Good Feet store nearest you for your free arch support fitting. Good Feet arch supports are only available at the Good Feet store.
Guys, are you still dealing with loss of energy, poor sleep, weight gain, and even ED? Revive Men's Health Sacramento offers guaranteed low T and ED treatments, and this month only, qualified patients get a free 1-month supply of personalized ED medication, plus a free ED treatment producing immediate results. Availability is limited. Book your free exam and consultation today. Call 916-365-4566. That's 916-365-4566, or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
ZZ Top, the Elevation Tour. Friday, May 3rd, 7:30 p.m. The venue at Thunder Valley with special guest Foghat. ZZ Top, playing all their classic hits. The venue at Thunder Valley. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com.
This segment is brought to you by Aztec Solar. Skip the sales pitch. Calculate your solar savings at yourpowersavings.com.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sacktown Sports.
Before Chris breaks down the Suns, talk about windows closing and opening. I mean, I think their window is just a bit sporadic and just is breaking. It feels like they're close, then they move in the opposite direction. Before Chris breaks down what the Suns have done, and we hear from Woj on Frank Vogel's future in Club Phoenix, let's get to TC. Let's open up the phone lines, 916-339-1140, answering the question that we posed before the break. Do you feel any better about the Kings knowing what was ahead of them and how this could have altered the offseason? What's up, TC? What you got for us?
Hey, Stiles and Watkins, what's up?
Enjoying a Monday.
Yes, sir.
Hey, just vibing, man. Like I told y'all last week, to be honest with you, I don't really feel any different. I mean, I honestly, yesterday, bro, I picked up and I started watching it. Remember, I told you I was feeling jaded. I haven't been watching it.
Right.
But I was watching those games. And I stick to that, bro. We would have gave the Thunder and we would have gave the Timberwolves, bro, a better fight. The Suns should have lost that game to us and the Pelicans, bro, that led us in the playoffs. I'm not saying that we were, like I said, a gentleman's sweep, bro, Chris. That's how I felt, bro. Like, the series with Minnesota would have been a 7-game series, just like the Thunder series, bro. The Kings went in there and got swept. I know they were up and down, bro, but, bro, we played those teams to the top, dog. I know we had Malik and Kevin was up and down, but at the same time, bro, it would have been a better fight, in my opinion. As far as this summer, y'all better get ready and grab your popcorn, bro, because a big move is being made. Monty, like what he said, I like to be flexible and I like to strike, bro, for a superstar like he was doing in Houston. I seen the way PG was looking. Even though they're 2-2 tied, PG is leaving, bro. It's either going to be Paul George, and I don't know what the other name is going to be, bro, but we're going to get a caliber player like that this summer. Kings fans, y'all get ready, big dog. A big name is coming. I truly believe that. And for some reason, dog, I believe it's going to be Paul George. That's all I got.
There you go. Thanks for the call, TC. Yeah, I had a source tell me that it's not going to be going into, what is it called, the new arena? Intuit
Dome.
Intuit Dome. The big, well, I guess, is it a big three with Russell Westbrook? I mean, the duo.
James Harden.
It's just a carousel at this point. It's hard to keep up. James Harden and PG and obviously Kawhi. One of them will not be playing in the Intuit Dome. It's almost like a rite of passage, if you will. Some of these guys do not make it in once these arenas are finally built. So who will that be? Well, tune in 11 a.m. Chris's Big Fish List. Okay, this is in honor of me going fishing for the first time this weekend out on the Sacramento River. Chris has created a Big Fish List at 11. Who do you want? This is your opportunity to just go crazy with the free agents or guys that may be traded. Chris has created a list of 10 fish. Big fish.
The biggest fish.
The biggest fish. I've never seen a bigger fish. That's at 11 a.m., so you don't want to miss that. And now I'll throw to you, Chris, for just a breakdown of how bad it is in Phoenix.
Yes. Real quick, though, I do want to mention something TC noted because I have heard a couple other people throw it out as well. The Kings' success against the best teams in the NBA so far this season as reason for hope that the Kings would do well in the playoffs. And you know, I definitely threw those numbers out there, and I think it does show that the Kings are capable of playing up to that level. But at the same time, I would caution everybody, the Phoenix Suns that just got fully swept by Minnesota, played the Timberwolves twice in the month of April. In the final month of the season, the last 6 games, they played Minnesota twice, both of which Phoenix won, one by 10 and one by 19 points. They got swept. So there is a big difference between regular season success and what ends up happening in the postseason. You can't just use the regular season success and try and blanket it over for the postseason. Not just TC. Definitely TC is a great caller. He knows what he's talking about. But I've heard a lot of people throw that out there, and it's just not an all encapsulating thing. But yes, now on to Phoenix. Phoenix definitely, like we laid out, is in about as bad of a situation as you could possibly be in when it comes to team building and where they are now set up for the future. They have quite literally zero control over their first round draft picks for the next until 2030. So the next 5 seasons over, they do not have control of any of their first round picks. They can't trade them off. They still can make those picks. They just don't know exactly when they will because of the protections on all of them. It's kind of a mess. On top of that, you're cap locked completely because you're paying Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and Devin Booker $150 million. Just those three. Just those 3 players are making a combined $150 million. Not to mention the fact Bradley Beal has a no trade clause. He retained it from his trade from Washington to Phoenix, which essentially means you can't just trade Bradley Beal for nothing. You can't say, oh, we don't want Bradley Beal, but we'll give him to New Orleans for Herb Jones and Jose Alvarez. We'll just take pieces for him. Can't do that. Bradley Beal has to fully accept the trade, which means he has to go to a spot that he would believe he has a chance to win at. He still has, I believe, 2 more years after this one, after this season, obviously. He has 2 seasons after this before his contract is up. And it's just a really, really bad situation. Frank Vogel's probably on his way out. That sounded like he definitely is probably packing his bags right now with them getting swept. And, there was a report in The Athletic. Let me read this real quick, because to me, this really shows just how bad things have gotten for Frank Vogel. This is, again, from The Athletic. It says Frank Vogel entered the home locker room at Footprint Center and lit into his team after his Phoenix Suns had fallen into a 35-4 hole en route to a loss to the Clippers on April 9th. The head coach yelled so much that his voice could be heard outside the locker room, except there was only one problem. On this night, Suns players weren't buying it. The outburst seemed forced and out of character in their eyes. It continued at the next day's shoot-around in Los Angeles, Vogel tearing into his Suns the night before that night's road win over the Clippers. Vogel's eruption left players rolling their eyes. Sources briefed on the matter told The Athletic. One player even told The Athletic he had to keep from laughing.
That's crazy.
Which is never good. There's always, every time a teacher or a coach is just yelling, there's always one kid who's always.
Who do you think that was? You go up and down this lineup.
That's a great question. I want to say Bol, but I don't know why. That would just be the funniest one.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who's just not. Let's see. It could have not Isaiah Thomas. We know he's Isaiah Thomas was probably locked in, huh? He was probably come on, guys. Yeah, listen to coach.
I can see it being Royce O'Neal.
Royce O'Neal.
I
that's
come
a good
over
shout.
here, actually, it's probably Nurkic. What are we doing here? It was definitely Nurkic.
It could be Nurkic. And by the way, that guy, I don't like to take victory laps, but man, Nurkic had himself a tough series. I don't know if he finished over 10 points in the last 3 games. Let's see here. He had in this series, game 1, he had 6 with 8 rebounds. In game 2, he had 9 with 4 rebounds. Game 3, he had 10 with 14. Game 4, he had 3 points, 7 rebounds.
Not going to work. Not
great.
going to work. Let's hear from Woj, who had some things to say about Frank Vogel's job security.
Yeah, and despite all the roster limitations that Mike just described, it's increasing belief around the league that Frank Vogel's job is in peril. And if this team loses, especially as abruptly as they might in a sweep, as dispirited as they looked in Game 3, when you have this kind of a payroll, these kinds of expectations, you've got to not only show more in the first round, you got to get out of the first round. Losing in 6 last year to Denver in the second round cost Monty Williams his job. You've seen Matt Ishbia, the owner. He has made rapid change in his short tenure as owner. Frank Vogel's job very much may be in jeopardy now.
And that was before they got
That
swept.
was before they got swept, and they proceed to get swept. And if it was going to be spicy, even if they won this one and lost. And that's why, the seeding, does it matter? I think the whole thing would be, well, you shouldn't have been a 6 seed anyway.
Right.
916-339-1140. Let's get out to Ebiz, who wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, Ebiz? What you got for us?
Hey, what's cracking, y'all, man? I just want to ask y'all a quick question, all right? So, De'Aaron Fox, I love De'Aaron Fox, and I think angry De'Aaron Fox is a monster, but, if you would have asked me at the beginning of the year, I would have felt, Fox was, better than Brunson and Ant-Man, but, I don't know about that. So I just wanted to ask y'all, man, if you guys could talk about it. I'm at work real quick. I'm listening, y'all. So
appreciate it.
I just want to hear that, though.
No, thanks for the call. Thanks for the call, Ebiz. We're doing a full breakdown on all of the whole roster based on position. So today we're doing forwards, but just for you, Ebiz, we will break down De'Aaron Fox. And where does he fall on the guard scale?
That's a good question, especially when Jalen Brunson had the night he had the other day.
And we had conversations during the season, to Ebiz's point. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Right.
There's the conversations that we had at the beginning of the season. There's the conversations we had in the middle of the season. And then there's a conversation we're going to have now. So when we come back, how do you rank De'Aaron Fox compared to these other star guards that are balling out of control right now? Stiles and Watkins, Sackdown Sports.
What's the missing piece for the 49ers?
Which names will they add during free agency? Whether it's in season or off season, the coverage never stops. Get the latest 49ers news on Sacktown Sports at sacktownsports.com.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
Lowe's knows pros need the right tools for every job. That's why we sell the largest in-store selection of Klein tools anywhere. Find new items launching exclusively at Lowe's, like the self-leveling laser level for just $159.98. Plus, shop the Connect socket set for just $49.98. Get Klein tools in-store and online today, because Lowe's knows tools. Lowe's knows pros.
Okay, guys, we got to put our trays up for takeoff.
Where's Dad?
Oh, he's in the back. We could only get 3 seats together.
Daddy has my pillow.
We'll get it later. Can you not put your feet up, please?
Why aren't we going?
We must be in line for takeoff.
Like security?
Well, that was a different line.
I have to go.
We just sat down.
But I have to go.
The seatbelt sign's on.
Why aren't we moving?
Hey, no kicking.
We're just 15th in line for takeoff.
Son of a...
Don't go there. Go on a real vacation. Go RVing. Learn more at GoRVing.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Cool moms love the lounge. Show your appreciation this Mother's Day by treating your mom to specials on some of our favorites all day long.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the network made for streaming. Well, the legend of Mason Miller keeps growing, and what a place to showcase his talents than Yankee Stadium. After the elbow injury last year, Miller has made the transition this year in a big way from starting to relieving. His 8 fastballs in the first game of the series averaged 102 miles an hour, including 102.5 to strike out Aaron Judge to end the game.
Want more speed? Well, Xfinity just increased their internet speeds, and they're faster than ever. It's time to get more out of your internet with faster speeds from Xfinity. Now through June 21st, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for only $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. That's double the speed for the same great price. Click, call, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and other charges extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
Country in the Park is back May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Jay Cohen, Walker Hayes, and more. Tickets start at just $46. Country in the Park May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPFest.com.
Brought to you by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 340.
Elevate your golf game at Timber Creek Golf Course in Roseville. Just named to the prestigious Golfers' Choice 2024 Top 25 Public Golf Courses in all of California by Golf Pass. Timber Creek offers an unparalleled experience. Our revamped practice facility features a grass driving range, expanded putting greens, and a chipping area complete with sand traps. Whether you're a pro or just starting your golf journey, Timber Creek is the place to be. Visit us and discover why we're the talk of Sacramento and beyond. Unwind and tee off at Timber Creek Golf Course.
My community means everything to me. That's why I joined the Army National Guard. I'm proud of where I'm from, and as a soldier, I get to give back to the people that help me succeed. The training and leadership skills I get from the Army National Guard help me every day when I teach young people and look out for my community. If you'd like to learn how you too can serve part-time in the community you love, visit nationalguard.com.
sponsored by the California Army National Guard, aired by the California Broadcasters Association and this station.
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
A show of the people. That is what Stiles and Watkins is, taking up to 2 p.m. as we got a call from eBay's who just said, look, where are we putting De'Aaron Fox right now?
Yep.
So you know what? Chris and I, we get in here, 6 a.m., we work on what the show's going to be about.
That's right.
But it's about the people first and foremost. That's right. Okay? Because when you have Jalen Brunson setting the Knicks franchise record for points in a playoff game.
Crazy.
And you have Anthony Edwards literally being memed and being crowned as the next face of the league, okay? All these guards are blowing up. All right, I was roasting Devin Booker. Even Devin Booker, you lose the game, okay? You lose the game. What do you have? 49 points, okay? So these dudes are doing big things on the biggest stage.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we supposed to put De'Aaron Fox? The only person not doing big things, that's Bradley Beal. Okay, you want $50 million for Bradley Beal? I don't think so.
I'm good.
I don't think so. But if you're out there, he is not on my list. No if, ands, or buts. But as far as the guards go, Chris, we had this conversation.
Yeah.
You have Kyrie doing this. I still don't know where to put Kyrie. There's a conversation between Jalen Brunson and Kyrie Irving. You have it is the breaking of a new day, a new dawn in terms of these dudes. And Luka, I don't really know what position Luka even plays. All right. Where the heck, and we'll go back to that playoff tier going into the playoffs. It was, what'd you have? It was De'Aaron Fox at was it 4?
He's a 2C.
A 2C.
According to The Athletic.
And the highest, obviously, is a 1A.
Yep.
Okay?
So 1As are very, very specific. They're like Giannis, Jokic, and I think that might even be it.
So are you still taking De'Aaron Fox over Jalen Brunson?
I am going to, first and foremost, I'm going to lay out how maybe the national perspective is here.
Okay.
I have the top 100 players from the Ringer, and I have the poll that you're mentioning, the Athletics pre-postseason tier system, which shows more so in a playoff series how they're tiering these stars star players. So let's just do let's start with the Ringer, who just does a general list of the top 100 players in the NBA. Amongst the guards, De'Aaron Fox is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th, 8th amongst guards.
Mm-hmm.
He is behind Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and please stop me if you have any comments or anything. Shai, Steph Curry, Devin Booker, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton, Jamal Murray, Donovan Mitchell, and then De'Aaron Fox is the next guard. He is number 22 total in the NBA, but would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th amongst guards in the NBA. According to the Athletics playoff tier system, the guards above De'Aaron are Steph, Luka, Brunson, and then those are the point guards. And then in terms of shooting guards, Shai, Booker, Edwards, and Donovan Mitchell are on the same level.
Was Halliburton in front of De'Aaron?
Halliburton was in front of De'Aaron on the Ringer top 100 list, not on the playoff tier list. And the playoff tier list, again, was more so of a, hey, where are you ranking this guy in terms of if he's your best player, your chances in the playoff series? Mm-hmm. De'Aaron is a 2C, Halliburton is a 3A.
So they're basic. I mean, that's one.
In terms of what do you mean?
That's one level difference.
Yes, yeah. One level difference. Yep.
I mean, let's just focus on the Ringer for now.
Sure.
And 8th point guard,
9th point guard,
9th point guard,
Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray, Tyrese, Brunson, Booker, Curry, Shai, Luka.
Are they calling Kyrie a shooting guard? Maybe
Kyrie is listed at number 30, and this was This was on April 10th. They did this list. They updated this
I mean,
list. So it was before the play. Both of these rankings came out before the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think you can make any arguments. Now it gets a little spicy or confusing, if you will, because eBay's, brought up Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards is a shooting guard.
Of course, yeah.
Right? So if you stick to point guards, I don't see there's a difference between, and maybe I don't know if the conversation should be about point guards, because that sounds right to me. Maybe you could argue he should be above Donovan Mitchell or Jamal Murray. Yeah. If De'Aaron
Fox, those guys are 3 to 4 spots ahead of him.
Exactly. If De'Aaron Fox was with Jokic, he'd probably have a ring. Right. I'm okay with saying that.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're having there's 2 different conversations. There's 3 different conversations. There's the point guard conversation. Mm-hmm. There's the guard conversation, and then there's the franchise player conversation.
Sure.
And in all 3 of those, there are 3 different answers for De'Aaron Fox, because franchise guy, which might be a conversation that brings more conversation from it,
of
right?
Course, yeah. There's more sides to it.
Yes, or not more arguing, but just it's more complex, the franchise conversation.
There's more. So
maybe we'll flip this for eBiz into a franchise guy conversation, because point guards, I really didn't have any problem with that.
No, I think you got to have Brunson above him. I think, talent for talent, you probably have to have Booker ahead of him. Tyrese, whatever, we can go back and forth, mm-hmm. but I think for the most part, those are fine. I'm fine with everybody above him.
There's nothing egregious.
Nothing egregious. Absolutely not. No. And so, I think that list is fine. I think, in terms of a franchise player, I think we just have to ask the question, if the Kings were in a situation like Phoenix was in the other day or yesterday, or or the Knicks were in, and not many players, I think, have the capabilities of scoring 47 by themselves, like Jalen Brunson did the other day, or 48, I think it was. But also, it can't just be about scoring either. Mm-hmm. Yes, what Brunson has done is incredible, and he's not just scoring. He also had 10 assists in that game. He's setting people up, but he's not as good of a defender as De'Aaron Fox is, or doesn't have the ceiling that De'Aaron does. There are also just some other things that might
it's just tough if you're
the
not
scales in other directions.
Right. But it's just tough if you're not a straight up liability.
Right.
And I don't think
he's not.
You would know if James Harden, that man, some of the clips between James Harden and Luka back and forth,
trading.
Please, after you. No, please, after you. Jalen isn't that. So if you're not that, I agree with what you're saying, but unless De'Aaron Fox turns into a straight up 2-way dog, he's not going to get the same flowers because Jalen is better than him offensively and he's better than him defensively. But you got to be way better than Jalen. You have to be a top defending guard, and maybe he'll get there. Yeah, but he's not there yet.
We also can't act like De'Aaron is just staying stagnant either. It's not like these guys are just leapfrogging him because he's staying in the same. We don't talk about enough. De'Aaron's made the leap over Ja Morant. I know Ja hasn't played in a year, but I think De'Aaron is a more complete player than Ja is. Mm-hmm. We don't talk about De'Aaron being a better player than Trey Young, where I think there was questions about that.
Yeah.
There's just other guys that have also, gotten a lot better too. Shea has clearly taken another leap, but De'Aaron is still in this, I don't know, top 7,
He's in the top of the second tier
guards. Yeah. I think that's pretty much where these lists have him at.
Right. Top 10 for point guard.
Yeah. You can have him top 7 for young guards.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure. Under 20.
Yeah. 20. Yeah. Sure.
Yes. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
As far as guards are concerned, I would say he is at the top of the second tier.
Yeah.
So he's below Jalen Brunson, but I think Jalen Brunson is at the top. Jalen Brunson is the top of the second tier.
Yeah.
I think De'Aaron is right below Jalen Brunson for that second tier of guards in general. And then
that's good enough, right?
That is good enough.
And I think that's what's most important is it might not be the best guard in the league. There can only be one, but if you have one of the best X amount of guards in the that should be good enough.
If the rest of your roster takes care of business.
Exactly.
The better that play, and look, we talk about Luka all the time. Luka went to a Western Conference Final. Mm-hmm. That's a furthest he's gotten, and now he has Kyrie. They were only the 5 seed, so it takes a village and it takes a team to get it done. But yeah, the franchise player, that area that is just a larger conversation that we will have plenty
of time
throughout the season. When we return, is Joel Embiid a dirty player? Also, we talking about guards, you got to talk about Anthony Edwards because the kid is balling. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question. Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system and you were a bit surprised at how much it cost? Or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
If your Medi-Cal is ending, Cover California is here to help. Cover California is a service from the state that helps you get affordable health insurance. In many cases, at no cost to you, just like with Medi-Cal. We have quality health plans and will help you every step of the way to get the one that works for you and your family. So, if you're no longer eligible for Medi-Cal, check out Cover California. We'll keep you covered. Learn more at coveredca.com.
You can host the best backyard barbecue. You find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a colonial with high ceilings, hardwood floors, and a peaceful neighborhood. And you found it. Now, every Saturday at 6 a.m., you get to wake to the sound of your neighbor's leaf blower. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
You go into your shower feeling, but as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.
When you hear the words, the whole store is on sale, if you're like me, you're thinking, this is worth my attention. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with a word or two about Naturewood Home Furnishings. Right now, Naturewood's whole store is on sale during their exceptional home sale. Now your mind is probably doing backflips trying to decide where to start. Would you like to refresh your living room? Would you like to restyle your bedroom? Or maybe you want to redesign your home office. No matter whether it's your dining room, kids' rooms, or accents and accessories, Naturewood's unique store-wide home sale offers savings in every department and savings on every brand like Stickley, Artisan Home, Stanton, Flex Steel, Omnia, and all the rest of our award-winning furniture. When it comes right down to it, it's all about choices and always about quality. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable home sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water wheel.
Guys, are you ready to give up because you think you've tried everything and you're still dealing with loss of energy, poor sleep, weight gain, and even ED? Revive Men's Health Sacramento has local medical providers that offer low T and ED treatments customized to each patient's unique physical makeup. By working with a specialized compounding lab, personalized treatments are guaranteed, even when generic pills and supplements haven't worked. It all starts with your free comprehensive exam and consultation. Availability is limited. Book today, and for this month only, Revive offers qualified patients a free 1-month supply of personalized ED medication, plus a free ED treatment producing immediate results. The experts at Revive Men's Health Sacramento will work to provide the right treatment for you so you can show up as the best you in all aspects of your life. Call 916-365-4566. That's 916-365-4566. Or send them a private message at revivemenshealth.com.
Once upon a time, you could get a heater tune-up or an air conditioner tune-up for just $59, or both for $89. Not too hot, not too cold, just right.
I thought you were going to read me a bedtime story.
Go to sleep now. Bonnie.com. License 696-355.
All guests come to you from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your flagship station for the Beam Team.
Should we light the beam? Light the beam, baby.
Sacktown Sports. Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
If you're curious, we discussed how the Suns and being swept, how the Suns fared during the regular season against the T-Wolves. The Thunder and the Pelicans went 2-1. The Pelicans lost 2. The Thunder won 2. So they went 2-1, and now the Pelicans are on the verge of being swept. Before we get into the big fish list, Chris's big fish list that he created, we have a Sun source now talking about the Suns owner, Matt Ishbia. He says he has no idea what he's doing when it comes to basketball. This is a quote. "It's like Looney Tunes around here. It's felt unstable since Ishbia arrived. He's a good guy and everything, I think, but he's just very involved, too involved. I know he played college basketball at Michigan State, but I'd venture to say he has no idea what he's doing when it comes to basketball. Yet he's making a lot of the big decisions." It is such a fine line with these owners, Chris, and how involved they should be with the basketball operations.
Right.
And look, I'll put it to you like this. If I own a team, which means that I've made some great business decisions in my life, I would think I'm invincible too. I would think, especially if I played college basketball, if somebody gave me,
Right. If somebody gave you a baseball team.
If somebody gave me a baseball team.
You're going to say, I can scout. I got this.
Yes. Trust me on
this. Sit down, guys.
We need to get Miller from the A's immediately because he throws 110 miles per hour, and we can take care of business. So just a really, really brutal turn of events in Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, they always say there's a such thing as new owner syndrome, and that's definitely what this is you get this new team, and then, you're like, I'm going to spend all the money. I'm going to do whatever I can to win, and we're just going to do a ton of rash decisions, and Kings fans definitely know about that. I mean, Vivek definitely had his fair share of new owner things that, definitely, you could argue set the franchise back a couple of years, and I think it's not just a Vivek-specific thing. Exactly. Matt Ishbia is doing it. I would say there's definitely levels to it, but what Ishbia is doing is terrible. I mean, I said it earlier, they don't have a first round pick until 2030. Mm-hmm. Like they have no route to improve. This was their move, and there's nothing else they can do unless they want to ship off one of KD or Book. And that's not going to be from a negotiating place of power. They're going to be pretty much held to whatever everybody wants to do with them. Like if a team is going to lowball their offer for Kevin Durant, Phoenix is stuck at either, we can either be in the Kings situation and run it back and run our heads into a wall, or we can just swallow our pride and take less for a guy that we probably know we can get more from, but it gets the ball moving on. Eventually this franchise is going to have to get back to normalcy. And so, I think that this is a totally normal new owner thing. It's just the way this guy has done it has pretty much screwed his franchise for the next 4 or 5 years at least.
Yeah, and at this point, you know what it is with Kevin Durant. He is an elite number 2.
Yeah.
That's who he is at this point in his career, which can really help some teams. But you're trading for somebody who's 35, 36 years old, and you know that you're trading him to a team who's trying to contend. You're not trading a franchise piece at this point in time. So the Suns will have to wear whatever somebody is willing to give them. All right. 916-339-1140. All guests callers, join us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. It is time for Chris's big fish list.
Yes.
If any of these fish tickle your fancy, call in and let us know.
Yes. So the point of this list, before I get killed for it, I know all of these are like absolutely shooting for the stars. That's the point of the big fish list. But when we talk about how this team makes the leap, and as scary as it sounds, does the Phoenix thing, or maybe does their version of the Gobert trade to go all in for a true title contention, or at least being in that conversation, they've got to make a big swing. And the crazy thing is, and the thing that putting this list together definitely solidified for me, is something we've been talking about, and Allen has even put his money where his mouth is with his bet of taking on the, what is Carolina Reaper?
Oh, the Carolina Reaper, that's right.
Like, this list is so big, and I swear there's enough names that legitimately make sense to where it makes me believe the Kings almost have to get one of these. I have 10 people listed on here.
I'm excited.
Where I swear there is actual reason to believe that these people will be moved. All of these people have at least some semblance of whispers or rumors of them possibly not being happy in their situation. So, and I even have it tiered as well, or not tiered, but just listed chronologically based off of my wants. Number one, should I start at 1 or 10? It's always a big sticking point.
Start at 10.
Let's start at 10 and work our way up. Number 10 on my big fish want list is one Zach LaVine. Now, you might be saying that seems a little bit low, but I just can't get over Zach LaVine's money. It's just too much for me. I don't think I think he would elevate the Kings the least of anybody on this list. I think he still does elevate the team, but it kind of becomes a bit of a Phoenix situation where now you're paying LaVine $50 million, you're paying Fox somewhere. I think Fox is making near 30, 35, maybe close to 40. Haven't looked at that number yet. I know Sabonis is making 35. So you're kind of pot committed to 3 guys there. And we really probably shouldn't go into specifics of, oh yeah, this would take moving HB and all that stuff. So you can fantasize about how the Kings get these deals done. But I think that they, with all of these guys, would have enough to get it done. They would just have to maybe sacrifice something that you might not be willing to get rid of. The pluses that I have for Zach LaVine are his age. Absolutely. He still fits in the Kings timeline 100%. He's a young guy. He is a guard, but he can slide over to forward. He's 29 years old. Makes sense. He's a scorer, which is, I think, is, especially if Malik Monk leaves, whether he stays or goes, I think this team needs another guy who can create his own shot. And the minus is obviously the contract. Zach LaVine is on probably the nastiest contract that anyone would ever want. He has, after this season, he gets paid $43 million next year, $45 the season after, and then has a player option for $48 million. I just don't think the Kings necessarily should lock that up again, especially considering I just don't know if there's another move after that they can make with that big of a contract. Number 9 on this list. A little bit of an interesting one. Bear with me here. I've got LeBron James. Woo! And, again, you might be saying too low. You might even be saying too high. But I just think, and this would definitely be the riskiest because this is probably a 1-2 year max LeBron would stay here. But, and there's really no way LeBron is going to pick to play in Sacramento. I don't think if he had his choice, Sacramento is probably bottom 15 on his selection. But if for whatever reason this were to happen, I think LeBron obviously needs to be mentioned, and definitely probably the least likely to happen, but his obvious experience and fit with this team is a huge need. Obviously his age and his contract would be the major minuses if they could somehow get it done. Number 8, yes, and he is the GOAT. That's right. And he'd probably get Bronny too, so it's a 2 for 1.
Yes.
At number 8, I have Karl Anthony Towns, who we'll see how available Cat is at the end of this year. Again, I think fit I don't absolutely love. Cat's pretty much solely an offensive weapon. We've also seen a little bit of...
He beat up last night, though.
He did. He played really well last night. He stopped fouling. Shout out Anthony Edwards, who apparently told Cat to just stop fouling, right. And that's really all that it took. And Cat is again a person who's in the right time frame. He's a younger guy. He's a scorer. The minuses would definitely be, Cat is somebody who's gonna cost a pretty penny. He's definitely one of the best young players. He's on his I believe is this his rookie extension, or might even be the one after that where he gets paid more. So he's still on his. Oh no, this is actually a new deal that he's on here. He's getting 49 next year, 53 the year after, 57 after that, and then a $61 million player option. That's a little bit too much for Karl Anthony Towns for my taste. And also just a lot of attitude questions with Cat, just in terms of how seriously he wants to take basketball and how much he cares about being a winner. I don't necessarily think that's something you need to add. Now we're getting into the tier where I think this is serious. Kings could really get these guys and really could make a leap here. Donovan Mitchell is a name that has been on the trade block. A lot of people are assuming he's going to go to the Knicks. We don't know how that Cavs Magic series is ending. It's 2-2 right now. Cavs have looked great at home, have looked terrible on the road. I think if they lose in this first round, again, that he probably will ask to go out. I don't know if he's necessarily going to be somebody who picks and chooses where he wants to go. He's obviously going to cost a ton for his services. I think he might be on an expiring contract, so maybe that's something where you kind of have an advantage because he might not request as much, but he fits in the time range. He's 27 years old. He's a guard. You can play next to De'Aaron Fox. You don't have to worry about your backcourt for a long time. Definitely takes a lot of the scoring necessity away from De'Aaron, someone who's averaged 25 plus points a game for some time now. I don't personally love his style of play, but I do think the Kings could use just another dog, which undeniably Donovan Mitchell is an absolute dog.
Next season, he will have a play. After next season, he'll have a player option.
$35 million next year, and then a player option 37. He probably turns down that player option to get more money, but you at least have him for one more year to try and figure out, kind of like what they did with Sabonis. He can figure out if he likes the situation or not. And then before we get into the top five in our next segment, at number 6, I have Paul George, who is absolutely a scorer. He absolutely fits a need. He can play the 3 or the 4. The negatives for him are absolutely his age. He's gotten up there. He also has the injury history, which we've known of for a long time, but he's somebody who can create his own shot. 6'8", 6'9", definitely is still hungry for that ring. However, he does have a $48 million player option that he would have to opt into in order for him to be tradable. And then, you're still paying him $48 million. And then I don't know what he would want past that. But those are the number 10 through number 6 big fish list for myself for the Kings this offseason.
Great stuff so far. Let's get to the top 5 when we return. Your calls, 916-339-1140. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
The handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10, 5, touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sacktown Sports.
Lowe's knows pros need the right tools for every job. That's why we sell the largest in-store selection of Klein tools anywhere. Find new items launching exclusively at Lowe's, like the self-leveling laser level for just $159.98. Plus, shop the Connect socket set for just $49.98. Get Klein tools in-store and online today, because Lowe's knows tools. Lowe's knows pros.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code MONTHFREE by May 31st. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up! and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sacktown Sports.
Chris's big fish list. Is it trout? Is it salmon? Or is it Paul George?
Big fish.
Big fish. And we have gone through 10 to 6. Zach LaVine, LeBron James, Karl Anthony Towns, Donovan Mitchell, and Paul George. My personal favorite so far, Chris. Yeah, I can see why those are 10 to 6 because nothing is really speaking to me.
Okay.
In that way. I mean, the problem with Paul George is sometimes he just looks disinterested.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. He's kind of fits into like if he's your one, like definitely don't feel great about your ceiling. If he's your two, that's a really good 2, but it kind of depends on how good your 1 is.
Exactly.
And if he's your 3, I mean, that's incredible. He would definitely be the Kings' number 2, at least for next year. But
let's just do this.
Yeah.
Paul George.
Okay.
De'Aaron Fox. Sure, why not? Malik Monk.
Okay.
Sabonis, Keegan. That's your 5.
Okay.
What does Vegas think their odds are to win the whole thing?
Probably not the best.
Yeah.
It's probably like, I would say they'd probably be projected top 5 in the West.
Mm-hmm.
I would say top 5 in the West, top 10 in the league, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
so you have a chance.
Yeah. It depends. The Eastern Conference teams are, Boston's going to be up there, depending on what Philly looks like after this offseason. Maybe Philly, Milwaukee, depending on who knows how that situation ends up unfolding. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I mean, yeah, these are the moves that, you have to at least get in the conversation.
Right. And
first,
maybe there is no move that makes them a favorite. There probably isn't. So. It's a process.
Yeah. Exactly. It's a process, and no one player can switch up everything either. You mentioned that lineup, the king of who knows if Keegan even can stay.
Mm-hmm.
So, or if it would just be straight up for a guy like Paul George, like maybe they get my guy Norm Powell in the deal as well. And it completely shifts up everything the Kings want to do. But definitely is interesting thought process here for where the Kings could possibly go with their big fish hunting. Let's move into the top 5 now, where I have my personal favorite, but I had to be real about the situation and figure where he would actually be in the Kings' priorities, necessities list. At number 5, again, my personal favorite, Jimmy Butler. The experience, the dogness, and the defense for me are the absolute selling points. Maybe not so much a elevation in talent. I mean, absolutely, Jimmy is a huge influx of talent. But if we're talking about the conversation we were just having in terms of, is Jimmy Butler really going to bring the Kings to real title contention? I don't think so, especially not necessarily more than a guy like Paul George even, or maybe some of the guys I have lower than him. But I think the value in bringing Jimmy Butler in is the dog. It's you get the dog to sniff out the other dogs and to figure out who on your team is legitimately here to win and who's here to put up numbers. I feel like the Kings have a lot of people who would probably fit well with Jimmy and his attitude, but at the same time, Jimmy does have sometimes a bad way of testing these guys, and ultimately, I think that's what this team needs is a leader and somebody who's not here to make friends, somebody who's not necessarily here for the camaraderie and everything, but is just here to get the wins and isn't afraid to call people out, because I do think this team does have a bit, I wouldn't call them soft. People have called them soft over the year. I don't know if soft is the right word, but they definitely lack an edge to them. And I think Jimmy is definitely the start of bringing an edge. His age is definitely a factor. Jimmy's on the wrong side of 30. He's 34, probably going to be, I imagine, yes, he'll be 35 at the start of next season. His age is definitely not great. His contract isn't great either. He's got 2 years, $100 million left. That's a big pill to swallow, but who knows if Miami gets eliminated in the first round. I'm not sure what Miami's necessarily going to look at in terms of where they're putting their future. So Jimmy Butler could definitely be a name that you see circling trade rumors this offseason. Now we get into the top 4, which I think is where things really start to get elevated here. At number 4, this is probably the least big name I have on the big fish list, but I do think this one might actually improve the Kings for the longest stretch of time. I'm going Lauri Markkanen here. He's young. He's a scorer. He's not somebody that you would have to, like Paul George, let's see here, even Jimmy Butler, LeBron, some of the guys I have higher on this list, there are a lot of HB replacements, like direct HB replacements. They play the same position. They're around the same size.
Right.
Lauri Markkanen is a 4 who can slide over to the 5 in some lineups, but playing next to Sabonis, he's going to be a 4, and Keegan's going to be a 3. There's not going to be a lot of, I guess probably not as much switchability, but everyone's going to have very defined roles. Lauri Markkanen is a dynamite shooter. He's a big dude. He's 7 feet tall. And the fit just makes sense. The contract isn't great. He's only on a 1-year deal, but that 1 year is only for $18 million. So at least this year, you're getting a really good bargain. You wouldn't have to trade a ton in terms of matching salary for him. So you could do just an HB and some lower assets with picks for Lauri Markkanen. You wouldn't have to do HB and Herter to get up to that 30 mil and then start to sprinkle in the picks. So that's definitely a big advantage. But you would also have to lock him up long-term if you're going to move on from those players for him. So that's the downside of Lauri, but I do think Markkanen has a lot of positives to him. Number 3 is where we get pretty recent. I got Kevin Durant.
Wow.
Now, this one is more just if you can get that guy in the building, you figure the rest out later.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Kings aren't going to trade De'Aaron. They're not going to trade Sabonis. I think they'd probably put their foot down and wouldn't trade Keegan. I don't know if you can get the deal done without Keegan, but this is a 36-year-old Kevin Durant here that, again, we just listed out all the reasons why Phoenix is kind of trapped pretty much.
Give them a pick. They need picks.
They need picks. They need picks like we need air.
Yeah.
So maybe you can convince them. I doubt it. Kevin Durant's obviously a top, even if you're a hater, top 15 player of all time. It's not going to be easy to get him in the building, but if you can figure out a way to get KD in here without leveraging Keegan Murray, and even if you have to bite the bullet and maybe give up less on the back end, maybe not as many picks to get KD in here for a year or two, I still think KD's got it. And I think, as we've talked about, like, I don't know if he's a 1. I don't know if he's a 2. I don't know what he wants to be in terms of the pecking order on a team, but him playing next to De'Aaron makes sense. KD, if I'm not mistaken, played the most minutes this year that he's played. I can't even remember how long. It's been a really long time since KD has put this level of workload on his shoulders. Wouldn't have to do that here in Sacramento. I just think KD could come here, score. He obviously wouldn't. Again, Sacramento would not be his pick of locations, but if you can force a trade and get KD over here, I think that's a huge positive. Again, just like Jimmy Butler, he has 2 years, $100 million left on his contract. That's definitely a big if, but I think nobody's going to blame you for getting Kevin Durant over to Sacramento. And if it works, obviously fantastic. If it doesn't, I don't really think you can blame them for swinging and missing on KD. Plus, the Warriors quite literally replaced Harrison Barnes with Kevin Durant. We saw what it did for them. It's obviously not going to do the same for the Kings, but the thought process is the same. You need a major, major step at that position. Just do what they did, and I'm sure you'll get somewhat similar results. Now we're in the top 2, and at number 2, we have a guy that we already did the work on. We talked about this last week. Brandon Ingram. Too many cooks in the kitchen in New Orleans. Things are getting spicy with the jambalaya, and they can't keep them all. They got Herb Jones, they got Trey Murphy, they got Zion. They have way too many forwards. They're not going to be able to keep Brandon Ingram moving forward. He's a guy who fits the timeline. He's a scorer. He fits at the 4 a lot better. I think, again, you might still have a little bit of redundancy with him and Keegan, but I do think Brandon Ingram is a person that you would know what he's going to do here. He only has 1 year left on his contract, but I think him being a younger guy, extending him to his next contract, I think would be a great move. And again, as a scorer that I'm just not sure the Kings can get otherwise. Number 1 on my list, the guy who I think fits just about everything that you need is Mikal Bridges of the Brooklyn Nets. Mikal Bridges, the number one thing besides the ability to score, he's a great shooter. He's a good defender. He's somebody who's played in the NBA Finals with the Phoenix Suns a couple of years back. But the best part about Mikal Bridges, this upcoming season, he makes $23 million. The following season, $24 million. He's a free agent after that, but you have 2 years of team control at, what is that? $6 million more than you're paying Harrison Barnes. That is a major, major upgrade for not that much more money. If you're looking to make the biggest step forward, and the problem with Mikal is he's going to have a lot of other suitors, especially the Knicks, who are trying to just make Villanova North, I guess. That for me is the number one guy that the Kings should be targeting. He fits the need. He fits the age timeline, and his contract is so good. You want something like that on your books, the same way Sabonis was on a great deal when the Kings got him over here. I think Mikal Bridges is a guy that I would pretty much give up anything besides De'Aaron and Sabonis. I would be willing, but I don't think that's where the Kings are going to go.
When we return, who are you willing to give up for any of these big fish? Also, Monty McNair in an article in The Ringer talking about how flexible the Kings are. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Subscribe to Sacktown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus, view archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sacktown Sports.
Capital Casino has been serving the greater Sacramento area in the same convenient downtown location for over 20 years, with plenty of close-by, well-lit parking monitored by security staff and offering the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Best food, best service, and the best action. That's Capital Casino. For more information on tournaments and gaming, check out their website at capital-casino.com. And please remember to gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Were you recently in a car accident? Don't let the insurance companies push you around. Turn to the experts at Gonzalez Law. Our team specializes in car accident cases, wrongful termination, and criminal defense, fighting tirelessly to get you the compensation and justice you deserve. With years of experience and a track record of success, we don't settle for less, and neither should you. Visit SACLegalDefense.com or call 916-304-9187 for a free consultation. Gonzalez Law, your advocate in the fight for justice.
Are you tired of your tee shots ending up in the adjoining fairway while the rest of your foursome is hitting it down the middle? Well, experts will tell you that being properly fitted for golf clubs will help you strike your drive center cut. The Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio and its team of trained PGA professionals are ready to help you get rid of your banana balls and duck hooks. Hagen Oaks Indoor-Outdoor Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
Thinking of remodeling your home? Say goodbye to endless internet searches and visit Subcontractors United. Find a list of 3 pre-qualified and licensed contractors in each home service category. From cabinets to landscapers and everything in between, Subcontractors United makes finding qualified contractors free and easy, with no accounts to set up. Visit subcontractorsunited.com and experience the joy of stress-free home improvement. Save time and money at subcontractorsunited.com.
Celebrate Sacramento Rivercats baseball during our 25th anniversary season. Pick your favorite weekly promotion, giveaway game, or theme night, and join the fun at Sutter Health Park. Stick around postgame every Friday and Saturday night as we light up the sky with the brightest fireworks in town. For a full promotion schedule and to buy tickets, visit rivercats.com. We'll see you there.
Seems like all this artificial intelligence stuff stirs up the age-old debate of man versus machine. Hi, it's Dan from the Good Feet store, and let me ask you, would you let a robot cut your hair? Would you rely on an app to teach a kid to ride a two-wheeler? Let's face it, some things require the human touch. People come to us seeking a solution to foot, leg, and back pain after trying all kinds of things recommended by in-store machines or website blurbs. An impersonal, generic approach to solving a problem that's unique to you. No wonder they usually don't work. At the Good Feet store, you'll meet with an arch support specialist who will take the time to learn about your needs, your feet, your lifestyle, and then fit you from over 300 models and sizes of arch supports, designed for pain relief, better balance, and more comfort.
Do you have sore feet, an aching back, or plantar fasciitis? Then get to the Good Feet store nearest you for your free arch support fitting. Good Feet arch supports are only available at the Good Feet store.
Country in the Park is back May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Jay Cohen, Walker Hayes, and more. Tickets start at just $46. Country in the Park, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPFest.com.
Brought to you by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 340.
This segment is brought to you by Aztec Solar. Skip the sales pitch. Calculate your solar savings at yourpowersavings.com.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
10 names came up in Chris Watkins' big fish list. Shout out to salmon. Shout out to trout.
Yes.
What else
Indeed.
is out there?
Halibut.
Sturgeon.
Yeah. Ahi tuna.
Bass.
You know, bass. Big bass guy.
Gotta be bass.
Yeah,
that's right.
Oh, the rockfish. Oh my God, a swordfish.
Cod.
Don't get Simone started.
I know, I do. I really do love fish.
I really need to catch something this weekend.
Yeah, like that's the part of fishing that they don't tell you about. Is like
I
it's
probably
fun.
won't.
Yeah, I mean, but the fun is in the time that you had, right? It's not it's not about the fish you caught. It's about the times that were had.
Really?
That was beautiful, Chris.
That's what they say. You know, it's just about throwing the line out there.
Well, you know what we have to do
The
now.
dock of the bay.
We know what we have to do now.
We have to. What's that?
We have to put some wagers down, right? No money
Okay.
involved, right?
Prop talk.
Prop talk, whether or not Alan's wife, does anybody bring home a fish? And we have to
I
set
think your
the
wife
odds.
Wow, you didn't even let him set the line, the cover.
Why would it upset me? Why would it upset me? Why would it?
I've been watching the videos.
Yeah.
I got all the
It
gear.
wouldn't upset
She
me.
just threw it out there,
Yeah.
and then 2 seconds later,
It would not have upset me.
Okay, I need to know a little bit of background,
Yeah.
a little bit about your verts and whatnot. Have you made any? Sorry, it
Go
was a
on.
particular word for you. Never mind.
Go on.
Have you caught fish before? Have
No,
you
this is
ever
my
gone?
first time ever.
First time.
Fantastic
I've
question.
thrown. I've
Cast?
tried before, yes, but it was kind of half-hearted,
Mhm.
not really trying, and there's something down there, but it wasn't a fish.
Like the outfit's like 80% of it. You got to like show up like in the right, just you got to look.
I got to go
right?
all in.
Yeah.
I got to go all into this.
Yeah.
People are asking for you to catch California halibut or striped bass.
I'll catch whatever.
It
I
don't
just want
matter.
to catch something.
Yeah. I can see Alan diving in the water. Absolutely.
Don't do
If
that.
if it really isn't going well, just be like, you know
we
what?
gotta take you guys out. We do the deep water fishing off of
How deep?
I mean,
was like,
it's the
I lost
Pacific Ocean. So
Oh,
we're
yeah,
out by the
pretty deep.
Fairlongs. And
Yeah.
you
I
pick up
can-
all the crab,
I
and then
can
you do
swim,
rockfish. Yeah, you're
I
not.
can watch you guys.
It's really bad.
It's a nice dog.
So you don't want to do ocean like big.
No, I
fishing
definitely
like that.
want to, but I'm
I
just going
don't.
to start
Local.
small.
Okay,
Yeah.
live and local.
Live and local.
Exactly.
Maybe I'll go live.
You should.
Yeah,
You should.
I'll go live.
Absolutely. You should go
While
live,
fishing. All right. As far as the big fish are concerned, that Chris has been talking about, the big fish that Chris had been talking about, not a McFish from McDonald's or anything like that. Chris, I do have some, not issues, but
Oh, okay.
it comes down to who would I move in a deal? Who would I move Keegan Murray for?
Yeah.
Because that's the
right.
awkward question that
Mhm.
nobody wants to talk about, but we keep it real on this show.
Yep.
Am I moving Keegan Murray for Zach LaVine?
I hope not.
No.
I really hope not.
Am I moving Keegan Murray for LeBron?
As crazy
It's
as it is to
tough.
say, I just don't think you can.
Because
I just don't think you can.
Yeah. I'm not moving Keegan for 1 year. I might think about it for 2.
Right. No. And because that's the thing is like, how much, I don't want to have that talk because it's really, that's kind of the line, right? Is like, how bad do you want to win? Like how bad do you want to risk winning?
Because if you move Keegan, that probably means you're holding on to HB or Herter. One of the two.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
You're not going to move. One of them is probably going to be in the deal with Keegan. And then the other one will be Keegan's position.
You would think.
That's how I see it.
Because it would be too much. You can't give 3 players and picks away for one guy. Like that's crazy.
Am I moving Keegan Murray for Karl Anthony Towns? No. I wouldn't either.
You took a little
I wouldn't
bit
either.
There. No, I wouldn't either. I'm
not
moving?
a big
enough Cat fan. I think if you found the right Cat fan, though.
And I'm actually a Cat fan.
Interesting.
But not that much of a Cat fan.
Okay.
Well, C-A-T.
Yeah.
Not K-A-T. Donovan Mitchell. Am I moving Keegan Murray for Donovan Mitchell?
Personally, my answer is no, but I think there's a conversation to be had. It depends how much I don't think it's the right piece. I think that they would be better off, especially if you're trading Keegan. I would think you should get a forward back.
Mm-hmm.
But you could maybe argue that the talent there is justifiable if you're not giving up much more. I don't know how you could give up much more with his salary, but that's one where, again, I personally wouldn't do it, but if I definitely don't make the decision. If Woj were to tweet it out, I can maybe talk myself into, well, this is a talented enough guy to at least put you in a conversation.
I think the issue,
I wouldn't be comfortable.
The issue for me is less about on the court. The issue for me is New York hanging over your head forever.
Absolutely.
And you lose Keegan and then he scurries off to New York.
Very much.
That's
a
the issue.
That's the worst possible outcome. And that's why they didn't trade for Siakam, right? Is because they were afraid of that exactly. They didn't want to trade Keegan and then be left with the star where they have to pay because they have no leverage. They know that they have to throw him the maximum amount of money to keep him to stay because they have no other option. And if he walks, then you're screwed. You're completely screwed. You gave up Keegan for nothing.
If Donovan Mitchell was, oh man, I'm all in. I love Sacramento. I love Fox.
Yeah.
Let's do this dang thing. Then okay, that's a different conversation.
Sure.
He's been in small markets his whole career.
Very true.
There's always been smoke as to him wanting to go to New York, to a lesser degree LA. So I wouldn't want to deal with that.
Good point.
Would I move Keegan Murray for Paul George? He's 33.
I don't think so. I'm afraid of the injuries.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We just added Paul George to the roster and we still didn't think that
that's true.
They were going to be top 5 in championship odds. So if you lose Keegan, whoever you're going to get back, even if you start Norman Powell, and he's old, I can't do it.
No.
And I'm sorry, you know how I feel, and I love the person, I love the memes, I love all that, but there is no way in on this green earth am I moving Keegan Murray for Jimmy Butler. No,
not even a conversation.
Not at all.
And that's a tough one too, because Miami is the type to try and strong arm you, right? They're the type to say, no. Well, you're not getting Jimmy Butler then. Like, we're not doing the trade. And I think ultimately, if that were to be the case, I think Monty would have to stay strong because a lot of these guys, like, it becomes, and not to step on our conversation, but I think it becomes a different conversation when we talk about the top two, like Mikal and Brandon Ingram. Both of those guys are young enough to where, okay, maybe you can view it as moving the timeline along with Keegan, where guys like Paul George and Jimmy Butler, it's just a little bit too far down the line. Right?
I mean, 32, I think, is the limit. You're talking about 33, 34 years old.
Right.
You can't do it. You can't do it. And Keegan, he has shown flashes this season.
Because it's the next, you have to think the next is it. The real question is the next, we'll turn it back to LeBron. Like we said, is the next 2 years of LeBron worth the next, I believe you have team control, Keegan, the next, if you sign him to an extension, the next 6 seasons. So we'll say give or take 6 or 7 seasons. Is 2 seasons of these guys worth 6 or 7 seasons of where Keegan could be?
No.
I would say no.
No. And Lori, out of the last four, we're up against it. Out of the last four that you have, the only ones I would think about it would be Mikal Bridges because of his contract. Probably Brandon Ingram. I think I would think about it. Lori Marketing, I would think about it, but Kevin Durant, I'd probably also say no.
Yeah, too old. He's too old.
He's 30, what are you, 36 years old?
Can't
35?
do it. Not going to be able to do it. Sorry. I know they would probably ask for it. Crazy Matt Ishbia.
Of course they would.
Yeah.
You're going to take these picks and you're going to like it.
Yeah. Can we also not put Keegan on the Pelicans? I don't like that.
Why?
Could you imagine? Because Keegan adds to their list of
CJ McCollum hey, they did me dirty too.
Yeah, right.
When we headed up to Sacramento. They could have drafted Keegan's like, I know,
CJ.
Thank you, CJ. We know.
I don't care.
We do not care. All right, 916-339-1140. What are your thoughts on Chris's big fish list and any tips that you may have? We'll do it later in the week.
Sure.
Tips for Allen fishing. That'll be a little later in the week, but I see them coming through on the text line already, so thank you for that. But any thoughts on Chris's big fish list? Anybody that you would move? Really the best young piece that the Kings have in Keegan Murray. Anything excites you there? And Monty McNair in The Ringer talks about his flexibility. Just how flexible are they? Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Keegan Murray plays here.
Keegan scores another three-pointer. Keegan Murray knocking it down for 23 points. Snatch De'Aaron Fox for game scoring honors.
Sacktown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Hey, it's Carmichael Day for my good friends at American Energy. Now, I've told you this before, but this is what we call extending a good deal. Right now, American Energy Heat and Air is offering an HVAC diagnostic for $99. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Never mind. They're offering it free. It's a $99 value, but you get it for $0. Let the American Energy team test your system connections and all the moving parts of that system to ensure that it's functioning properly. Now, this is a limited time offer. Call today to schedule your appointment at 916-520-9990. Speak to the company that has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau that's been making the greater Sacramento area proud since 1981. 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Are you stressing about your IRS tax problems? Have you received notices from the IRS threatening to garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, or seize your property? You need an ally. Allies Tax Relief has tax attorneys and enrolled agents that are ready to fight for you. They have saved millions for taxpayers just like you. Allies Tax Relief can help put a stop to IRS collections and, most importantly, negotiate your tax debt. Here's Brenda, a happy client of Allies Tax Relief.
I owed the IRS around $57,000, and they're about to start garnishing my paychecks. I heard a commercial on the radio about Allies Tax Relief, so I thought I'd give them a call. After a day, they were able to at least stop the garnishments, and after a few months of negotiations, I walked away owing the IRS only $301.
If you owe the IRS, call Allies Tax Relief right now for your free consultation. Call 800-230-5174. 800-230-5174. That's 800-230-5174.
What's keeping you from learning the language you've always wanted to speak?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make learning fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. And in 10 minutes a day, Babbel's bite-sized lessons are designed to get you having real conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
That's not long.
It's not hard.
It's perfect.
It starts here. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Hey, pet parents. With Progressive's collision coverage, you get extra protection for your cat or dog, because there's nothing worse than seeing your pet hurt. Like when you see their face after accidentally stepping on their tail, and you say, "I'm so sorry, Mr. Pickles." But as you kiss his nose and rub his little belly welly, you know Mr. Pickles is thinking, "You betrayed me." Anywho, Progressive pays up to $1,000 in vet bills if your pet is injured in an auto accident. Learn more at Progressive.com and watch where you step. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Collision coverage subject to policy terms. Not available in all states.
Guys, this month only, Revive Men's Health Sacramento offers qualified patients a free supply of ED medication, plus a free ED treatment producing immediate results. Book your free exam and consultation today. Call 916-365-4566 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Monty McNair in The Ringer, an article in The Ringer by Howard Beck. We are in a spot where we will have opportunities to continue to grow this team, McNair said. We have a combination of flexibility, assets, and really good players.
Combination.
And it's going to be hard, obviously, in the West because it always is. But we feel like we are well positioned and we'll have options on which pathway to pursue. Chris, are you buying that?
First off, we have no choice but to, but I don't just understand what exactly the flexibility is. Like Monty seems to be talking as if he knows something that maybe isn't completely public. Like we've all been talking about how the Kings have their picks kind of locked up because of the protections for the Atlanta trade and things like that. But not only this quote, which came before his exit interview, but then again in the exit interview, just kind of made it sound like the Kings have like he's fine with the amount of options that the Kings have. He believes that the options that are currently in front of them are ones that he feels are satisfactory, which is just interesting to me. Like I don't know. I just don't really know because I feel like I don't know exactly what he's referring to. Like, again, it feels like he's talking about something that he has in a locked war chest that nobody else has seen but him. So I guess no, I guess would be my answer is I don't believe him because I just haven't seen what these super flexible assets are. But the confidence in which he's speaking about it makes me believe that maybe there is something. You ever have somebody in your life who's just like, talk so confidently about something that you just believe that it's true because they said it with so much conviction, it must be true. And then you find out I kind of feel like it's one of those situations, but who knows? Time will tell.
Right. I mean, it's tough to say whether you buy him or not, because you could say, well, clearly he knows something that we don't.
Exactly.
So if that's the case, then I guess I do buy it, or he's just making it sound. I mean, the way that these guys say the things, the way that they say them, it's on purpose. So he can say, yeah, his version of flexibility and our version of flexibility may be two completely different things. Let's go to Steven, who's been hanging on. Our guy, Steven, what you got for us?
Oh, not much, man. Hope all is well with you guys. Hope you guys have a good weekend.
Thank you, sir.
You too.
Man, hey, I appreciate that. Thank you, man. So as far as like, it's not changing our window. I'm a little late to the party here as far as you guys' discussion, so I do apologize because I'm making you repeat anything that you've already said. But Keegan, he fits our timeline. What if we were to trade away any of our pieces? How many players have you guys already discussed that would be fitting in that same timeline? That way, we're not going to get a Jimmy Butler or someone who is Paul George, someone who's on the later half on the bad side of 30. You know. Is there anybody out there that's going to fit that timeline? Maybe a Mikal Bridges? Thank you, man. I appreciate you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's definitely a tough one, but all season Keegan has shown things that has made you get really excited. And then there have been situations where you can't, not that you can't depend on him, but at the same time, you're okay to say, all right, I mean, maybe I would move him for this person or that person. So I think it's a really tough situation. But if the price is right, I think the difference with Mikal Bridges is that the price would be right for Mikal versus some of these other guys where it could be a little bit dicier to have to handle. So ultimately, if it happened, great, but you still wouldn't be done, right? I mean, again, you cannot run out a lineup of Mikal Bridges, De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis. I guess in that situation, you're either keeping Herter or Harrison, and that's just not enough. That's just not going to be enough. Yeah. Let's get to Will, who wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, Will? What you got for us?
What's up, fellas? I apologize.
Y'all let me back on, man. I'm back on. I
Always.
appreciate that.
You're back. You're back. You're back.
Always.
Chris Watkins.
What's up,
Man,
sir?
I love this list. Man. You did an excellent job. This is super. But you know what? I didn't think you were going to have Brown on there, but that's cool. But you know what? If we could get Mikal Bridges, man, that would be a hell of a step in the right direction.
Is that your number one?
Yeah, because it fits money-wise and age-wise. And we need young athletes, man. We need young dogs that we can fit into the salary base of the Kings. Because and we can't bring HB back next year, man. We can't do it. If we're gonna try to do something, try to make the playoffs and go further, we got it. We got to get somebody to take those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You agree?
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
Thanks
mean,
Thanks for the call, Will. Yeah, that was good stuff. I mean, but that's the thing, though. It's Mikal Bridges and Keegan. I don't want to give. I would.
Yeah.
But you're still not done then.
Yeah, exactly. Because you would have to find, we have to find some sort of replacement for Harrison. I mean, that's the big thing is, and it doesn't have to be HB gone, but you have to get better production out of that spot. Especially, if you're just subbing Keegan for Mikal Bridges, which we don't know. We just don't know exactly what that kind of haul would entail. I think Monty would try his ass off to not have to trade Keegan, but the reality of the situation is if you feel good about the guys that you sent off, then you probably won the trade pretty easily. And Brooklyn's not just going to give away people. There is an interesting connection too with Jordy Fernandez. Maybe,
that's right.
Maybe that would be a nice little thing that Jordy could have is some familiarity from Sacramento with Keegan. But if you're just straight swapping Keegan for Mikal Bridges,
would you do that?
I would consider it. I would definitely consider it. I think Mikal is the guy that you want Keegan to become next year, and there's no guarantee Keegan becomes that. And plus, Mikal can still get better in that situation. Mikal has also already been in that situation with a title team in Phoenix, or at least the team that went to the finals with Phoenix. He's
27.
He's 27, which is a perfect age. Sabonis is 27. I think De'Aaron just turned 26. So he's fitting right into that wheelhouse where you can build with him moving on. Again, he is somebody who's ready right now, where Keegan, we're still kind of waiting a year for hopefully him to get to a point where he's a year away from taking another major leap. So I feel like Mikal is more on the verge of taking that leap. We saw him that half season with Brooklyn go crazy, and then last year kind of fell by the wayside in a pretty forgettable year for that franchise. So I think you put him in a new situation, a situation that wants to win. I could see him taking another level, but I still think the problem would be you need more production from that other forward spot, and I just don't know if the upgrade from Murray to Bridges is big enough to, no pun intended, bridge that gap.
I just don't think it is.
I don't think so either. I just think you have to get a better player next to HB, next to whoever the Keegan or the Keegan slot is.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I'll take a page out of your book, and I really like Mikal Bridges, but when you see what the Nets did and how badly they played, and they had a little bit of talent there in a pretty soft Eastern Conference. I mean, if you're talking about mortgaging your future and the best pick and the best young asset that you have for a guy who, Cam Thomas, I mean, it wasn't a terrible team.
No.
Right?
No.
There was a lot of
Cam
things.
Johnson,
Cam
Thomas,
Johnson. There was a lot
Nick
of things
Claxton
going on behind the scenes, but, they underperformed out there in Brooklyn, whether it's their fault or not. So if I am going to give up Keegan for something, it's going to be for a guy who, man, that dude is putting up just Looney Tune numbers every single night, regardless. That's not who Mikal Bridges is, but that's why I probably wouldn't do a straight up swap. I would want to add him with Keegan. I wouldn't want to trade Keegan for him.
And if you were, I wish you were Monty McNair in that seat, because that's exactly what Monty should say, right? Is, hey, you're talking about this Mikal, and hey, we're in conversations with New Orleans about Brandon Ingram, and we're in conversations with Phoenix about Kevin Durant.
Right.
These are guys that are really making impact, and you're asking for the same or more for your guy who, like you just laid out, doesn't have nearly the same winning resume. Right. So if you're Monty, that's exactly what you should be saying is, yeah, like Mikhail's cool and all, and we really love his contract, but let's not act like we're talking about a dude who's changing franchises here, just walking in the building. He's still a player who we don't know exactly how big of a leap he can give your team.
When we return, we start our player breakdowns. And who better to start with than Harrison Barnes? Right. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sacktown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco!
It's all on his shoulders. Cox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sacktown Sports and SacktownSports.com.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
Hey there, wanted to take a moment of your time so I could talk to you about insecurity. I could talk to you about confidence. I could talk to you about girth. Yeah, what? Girth? Yeah, okay. Let me tell you about the Upsize Clinic at UpsizeMatters.com. My good friend, Dr. Jack, and his friend, Dr. Pash in San Francisco, have a safe, effective, long-lasting doctor-performed procedure. It's non-surgical, virtually pain-free. Now listen, girth is consistently ranked as the most important attribute. What Dr. Jack and Dr. Pash are offering is a free consultation. The procedure can be done on the same day as your consultation and get that confidence back. Reset in the bedroom with your partner. Financing is available. It's very private. It's very discreet. Available in Roseville with Dr. Jack and San Francisco with Dr. Pash at UpsizeMatters.com. That's UpsizeMatters.com.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the network made for streaming. Well, the legend of Mason Miller keeps growing, and what a place to showcase his talents than Yankee Stadium. After the elbow injury last year, Miller has made the transition this year in a big way from starting to relieving. His 8 fastballs in the first game of the series averaged 102 miles an hour, including 102.5 to strike out Aaron Judge to end the game.
Want more speed? Well, Xfinity just increased their internet speeds, and they're faster than ever. It's time to get more out of your internet with faster speeds from Xfinity. Now through June 21st, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for only $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. That's double the speed for the same great price. Click, call, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and other charges extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
NBAstore.com, the official online store of the NBA, and the world's largest selection of officially licensed NBA fan gear. With unique designs by Fanatics, Nike, and all the latest styles for every NBA team, plus one-of-a-kind products and authentic collectibles. Shop now and get today's special offer. NBAstore.com, a Fanatics experience.
So here's a fact. 85% of the population will suffer from foot pain in their lifetime. That's almost everyone. So you'd think there'd be plenty of healthy long-term remedies, but there just aren't, right? Hi, I'm Dan from the Good Feet store. You know, people come in all the time sharing the same frustrating story. Bought this, tried that, been there, done whatever, all different kinds of things, but all with a similar result. Nothing. A discouraging and endless cycle of disappointment. If this rings a bell, don't despair. There is hope. If you think you've tried everything, you probably haven't tried Good Feet arch supports from the Good Feet store. They're designed to relieve, even eliminate, the pain commonly caused by certain foot conditions like plantar fasciitis, bunions, flat feet, and others. Plus, provide better balance and increased comfort.
Do you have sore feet, an aching back, or plantar fasciitis? Then get to the Good Feet store nearest you for your free arch support fitting. Good Feet arch supports are only available at the Good Feet store.
Kevin Lewis with National Garage Door, reminding you that in Sacramento, National Garage Door is the king of garage doors. We service, sell, and install garage doors and openers. Call us today for your basketball special. A new 16x7 Rainer garage door with installation and a belt drive opener for only $24.49 installed. Give us a call today, 916-638-4554.
638-4554 National Garage Door.
This segment is brought to you by Aztec Solar. Skip the sales pitch. Calculate your solar savings at yourpowersavings.com.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios. KHTKAM Sacramento. KYMX HD2 Sacramento. Sacramento's official home for the San Francisco 49ers.
Touchdown! San Francisco!
Sacktown Sports.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sacktown Sports.
It is time. We are starting our Kings player breakdowns every day until we're done with the guys in the rotation. We will break down their stats. We will talk about how they can improve. We will give them a season grade and whether or not we want them on the roster next season. I know it's awkward, but this is what has to be done.
Yep.
Okay? 916-339-1140. Let's get to Sean, who wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, Sean? What you got for us?
Gentlemen, how are you doing?
We're good. We're good.
And I just had to call in. I had to chime in on this Keegan Murray conversation.
Please.
And the Kings' off-season plans and some things that I've been seeing. And listen, I love Keegan Murray. I'm a season ticket holder. You know, the chant, Keegan Murray, I'm all with it. But he has just, and I think a lot of people are saying this, you know, he really just hasn't advanced, I think, to the point of consistent play that we need him to. And my main concern is, and I'll go back to earlier this season when we had our players-only meeting. And from my perspective, the lack of leadership, from a vocal leadership that we have on that starting five right now. And right now, our two most vocal leaders that we have is Trey Lyles that called that players only meeting and Malik Monk. And I think we got a 50-50 shot of whether or not we keep Malik or whether he goes. So, you know, there's a possibility we go into next year, you know, if the roster is pretty much as is, you know, with a few changes, maybe HB going or whatever, that we lose a big vocal leader in that clubhouse. And I would really like to see a move that's made that brings a vocal leader into that starting five because, you know, Fox is what he is. Sabonis is what they are, you know, what he is. But, you know, they haven't proven to be the vocal leadership or being able to step into that role, which is fine. And I really think that that's where we're lacking and that's what we're missing. And I don't think that based upon Keegan's track record, and he's just a nice guy. Let's just be real.
Right.
And we need somebody in that starting five that's going to have a little bit of nasty edge to them, like Malik. How he has that little nasty side to him, right?
Yeah.
That you like to see, that tenacity. And I just think that that's the problem right now that we're missing. We're just lacking that from that starting five. And it is what it is. Fox isn't going anywhere. Sabonis isn't going anywhere. We're not going to get it from those two. And I think it just is what it is. We, you know, I don't think we should assume that that's going to ever change. And so that's what I would like to see done with Keegan is can we move on from him and can we get somebody, bring somebody in, whether it is a veteran that has proven, you know, leadership capabilities, because I think that that's what I want to see happen for that starting five next year.
Great call.
Great call, Sean. Yeah, it might make you feel a little bit better, and I'm assuming Sean didn't bring up HB because you can just get a better player for Keegan Murray. Or HB would probably have to be in that package as well. I will say this, though, Sean. The one thing that Chris and I did hear from that players only meeting, this might make you feel just a little bit better, is that surprisingly enough, very surprisingly, Keegan Murray was actually somebody who spoke a decent bit in that players only meeting. Now, he didn't call it. He's not the one. Obviously, yes, you were right. That was Trey Lyles. But after it came out, we went to a couple post-game pressers and pre-game pressers, and Brendan and Frankie, our Sacktown Sports Kings insiders who were at different shoot-arounds. It actually came out that Keegan had a decent bit to say in that players only meeting. I have heard Keegan talk about, hey, we got to keep people accountable and things like that. I understand what you're saying. I think it's less about Keegan as far as that's concerned. And I think Sean just meant it because we have too many of those guys.
Sure.
So you have one guy in Keegan who's also like that, and he's the youngest and has the highest ceiling out of who you're willing to move on from. So it's really a process of elimination. I think Harrison Barnes would be number one on everybody's list, but you're probably not going to get back just here. You might have to include Harrison anyway, or Kevin Herter with Keegan Murray to do a deal. This is from the 415, Chris. Morning, guys. Hope you had a good weekend. I'm enjoying the conversation you were having in regards to possible trade proposals and hypotheticals, ... But don't you think based on the team not making the playoffs, that kind of limits them to do anything? They kind of have no choice but to trade Keegan Murray in any sort of package if they want anything good. Otherwise, we'll be having the same conversation we've been having this year, all of next year. Anyway, have a great Monday. Thank you to the 415.
Yep.
Well, I'm trying to connect the dots between missing the playoffs and having to trade Keegan. Is it that these guys have lost value? Is that the thought process?
Yeah, I'm not sure, because actually in a weird way, not making the playoffs helps your assets, because now you have the 13th pick in the draft. Like, number 13 is a really, really good pick. I mean, even the guys that we've seen mock there have been pretty decent players.
Could be higher.
Yeah, but it's a start. Like, that's a really good first round pick. That's not a pick in the 20s. That's like a lottery pick that you can realistically get some value from. Like, everybody would love a 13th pick. It just doesn't really do the Kings a lot of favors for what their goal is right now. Their goal is to get veteran guys who are ready to win now, and I just don't think a rookie does that. So actually, in a weird way, I think not making the playoffs helps them make a big move, because now they have that 13th pick, which they wouldn't have at their disposal had they made the playoffs. So and I would say not making the playoffs makes a move almost a necessity, right? Because it's like you have to now find the success that you weren't able to find this year.
Right. Yeah. And I'm trying to think with the Suns. The thing is, everybody wants to pick their guy, because if there was something to be done with the Suns, and let's say KD, even with the 13th pick, you'd have to pick somebody, because you cannot trade until
you have to make the
make the pick. So you'd have to trade. You'd have to make a pick of somebody you think the Suns would want.
Yeah.
And maybe, but I don't know if the Suns want picks, but I don't know if they want a young player right now. They want future picks that they don't currently have.
Yeah, sure. And it just kind of depends on who the Kings end up with. I mean, if they get a guy like Jared McCain or Ron Holland or something like that, I think those guys will definitely do a good job of keeping that value, because those are names that I think everybody in the NBA community would know and would have, in the same way that in the Dame trade last year, Jaime Jaquez was still a name that was thrown around in those trades and still had some value. So I think as long as the Kings make, crazy enough, as long as they make a good pick at 13, they should still be able to move that off and have pretty good value from that pick. I think everybody would tell you that the number has more value than a player.
Always.
But, at the end of the day, I think that's kind of the situation the Kings are in. Maybe they could work out some, I don't think this is actually possible, but maybe they could work out some trade in advance to where it doesn't officially happen until after the draft, but the terms of the player they want is already negotiated. It gets a little bit weird in the back end of everything, but ultimately I don't think that not making the playoffs hurts the Kings' chances of getting one of these guys.
All right, it is time for our player breakdowns, and we are starting with the most polarizing player on the team, Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, HB had quite an interesting year. I don't really know how you could properly describe it, but it's definitely a step back from the previous season. Just to compare his 2 previous seasons, this past year that we just went through, Harrison Barnes, 12.2 points per game, 3 rebounds, 1.2 assists, shot 47.4% from the field, 38.7% from 3. He was at 40% for a good portion of the season, but I think once Malik went down, he kind of had to take a little bit more of an aggressive mindset, and definitely led to him, just not doing so well from beyond the arc at the end of the year. But for all intents and purposes, was really a 40% shooter for most of the year, and then the last 2 weeks fell down to 38.7. To cross that with how he was last year doesn't really look great. He was 15 points per game in that first Beam Team season, 15 points per game. So he had almost a full 3-point drop off in points per game. He averaged 4.5 rebounds 2 seasons ago, which is 1.5 more than he did last year. He averaged 1.6 assists 2 seasons ago, where he was at 1.2 last year. And then 2 seasons ago at 15 points, again, 3 points higher, shot about the same percentage from the field. And then from 3 was a percentile less. And then something we touched on, no pun intended, at the beginning of the season, the touches per game were really down for Harrison this year. 2 years ago in that first Beam Team season, HB 45.9 touches per game. Last year, 35.3 touches per game. So almost a full 10 touches per game less. And from a minutes perspective, not only 10 less touches, but he got 3 less minutes per game from HB this year. Finishes under 30 minutes at 29 flat, which is the first time he's been under 30 minutes since his 3rd season in the NBA with the Golden State Warriors. He was at 28.3. So this is, you could argue, and also that's his least points scored since his 4th season in the NBA at 12.2. You could argue this is the worst season Harrison Barnes has had since he left Golden State. And that's crazy.
That is nuts.
That is nuts. And, there's reason for it. He took a step back also in terms of importance. I think the touches per game really highlights that. Malik got an elevated role this year. Keegan clearly got an elevated role this year. And I think to an extent, Kevin Huerter probably had the ball in his hands a bit more than he did last year. But ultimately, I just don't know how you could view this as a step forward for Harrison Barnes in his career. It's definitely feels like the start of a new era of Harrison Barnes, where
the bench era.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah, pretty much. Like, I think he's a high level bench player, but if he's going to be starting for your team, I think you're always going to be wanting more. And because he's not going to, I don't think he's going to get more touches next season, right? Like, I know that would maybe be the simple answer if you're just looking for how do we get Harrison better, give him more touches. But ultimately, I think the reason why he took the step back in touches is because if this team's going to take another level, other guys can just help this team a lot more. And Harrison does such a great job at just kind of filling in the gaps. But, I think sometimes when he tries to fill in the gaps, sometimes he does instead of a little bit of everything, it's a whole lot of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of the weird balance that Harrison kind of tried to find this year. And, I think a lot of people just kind of wanted more. And the question I would have is, if he comes off the bench, like what do you realistically expect from him? Because I don't know if coming off the bench would mean a more aggressive Harrison, or if it would just mean this, but in less minutes, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Just split that production in
Exactly.
half.
Exactly. Yeah. If you cut his minutes in half, does the production also go in half?
Well, what he turns into, and I don't know how expensive it would seem, you're an $18 million. Hey, can we win those minutes guy?
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Because the stars would be out. That's when you come in. Hey, your job is to keep us afloat.
Yeah.
Right.
And that feels like a good role for him.
It feels like a good role for him, but the problem with the Kings as their roster is currently constructed, I mean, and we're doing Trey Lyles next. There's nobody to push him to that.
Right.
Right. It could have, I think if Trey Lyles had come out, and the only reason I'm bringing up Trey Lyles is because that is essentially the swap, right? Or I guess to a lesser degree, Sasha. If either one of them had forced Coach Mike Brown's hand, then maybe that would have changed some things. But neither of them, Trey was dinged up, Sasha was dinged up.
Yeah.
So I
can't just bench people.
You can't just bench people just
throw them
because
on the bench. Can't
just
go 4 and 5.
All right, continuing the conversation when we return on Harrison Barnes, where he needs to improve. Do you want him on the team in 2024, 2025? And we give him a season grade. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Domantas Sabonis plays here.
He finds Sabonis. Put the frosting on the cake. Put the cherry on the sundae. Sabonis with a two-hand flush. Makes it 114-106.
Sacktown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by the Arnold Law Firm.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. A beautiful spring day is in the forecast for your Monday. We'll have plenty of sunshine. We'll have a north wind about 10 to 15 this afternoon, and highs will peak in the upper 70s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
The Arnold Law Firm has seen how a collision can turn anyone's life upside down in a heartbeat. So remember to be a little more alert on the road and stay safe. The Arnold Law Firm, providing real justice for you since 1975. Call 916-777-7777.
Were you recently in a car accident? Don't let the insurance companies push you around. Turn to the experts at Gonzalez Law. Our team specializes in car accident cases, wrongful termination, and criminal defense, fighting tirelessly to get you the compensation and justice you deserve. With years of experience and a track record of success, we don't settle for less, and neither should you. Visit SACLegalDefense.com or call 916-304-9187 for a free consultation. Gonzalez Law, your advocate in the fight for justice.
Capital Casino has been serving the greater Sacramento area in the same convenient downtown location for over 20 years, with plenty of close-by, well-lit parking monitored by security staff and offering the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Best food, best service, and the best action. That's Capital Casino. For more information on tournaments and gaming, check out their website at capital-casino.com. And please remember to gamble responsibly.
Was roaming the halls and had my phone ready on standby, and I believe I screamed in the hallways when it happened. But honestly, by the time that they had voted, it was pretty much all but a formality. But just to actually see them officially stay was just absolutely insane.
11 years.
Yes, it sounded a lot like that.
11 years ago today, the NBA voted to keep the Kings in Sacramento. 916-339-1140. Where were you, if you remember? Simone, you sent this over for us. Great stuff. Detective over there. Where were you?
I was in San Francisco. I'm so sorry. My answer is going to be really lame. Don't really remember what was going on. I was in college like a grown person,
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah. Hey, age is age,
I'm
you know.
sorry.
Age is age, you know.
No, but that's it. I really don't have anything concise. Probably
Wow.
doing a sailing class and trying to fish.
There we go.
There you go.
Sailing
It comes up again. By the way, speaking of trying to catch the big fish from the 916, wasn't Kobe a 13th pick? That is correct. 916.
There you go.
Kobe Bryant
Yeah.
was 13th pick to the Hornets and then was traded to the Lakers.
That's right. And I believe in that draft also was Peja Stojakovic, who was taken number 14. And then Steve Nash. That's maybe like the greatest 3 picks in a row. Kobe, Peja, and then Steve Nash.
Yeah. AI went number 1 in that draft.
He did. Wow. Yeah, he did. That's incredible. Wow. What a crazy
This
good
is
draft
actually a
this
crazy
was.
draft. AI 1, Marcus Camby
2,
Stephon Marbury 4, Ray Allen 5, Antoine. I was a big Antoine Walker guy for some odd reason.
Antoine Walker was a big Antoine Walker.
That's also true. Antoine Walker 6. Okay. Eric Dampier 10. Then you get Kobe 13, Peja 14, Steve Nash 15, Jermaine O'Neal 17.
Big Z 20, Zadrunas Ilgauskas, Derek Fisher 24.
Wow.
This is just proof that, yeah, man, like you can find gems truly anywhere in the draft.
Now, Chris, were you walking at this point, or were you still kind of crawling back then?
What are
we doing? What are we doing here? In 1996, yes,
In 96.
I was in the baby races. Okay,
That's right.
I got second place.
Second
Okay,
place.
It's a sore subject.
I actually saw the trophy. It's small because it's second place.
That's
but
right.
At
But
least
my picture's still in Arco.
At least he got going, and I was somewhere watching Mighty Ducks as I was doing for my whole youth from about 4 to 10 years old. Good shout out there on the 916. But getting back into Harrison Barnes and just a name that just is said. I mean, how many times, it's like Beetlejuice. How many times do you think Harrison Barnes gets said throughout the duration of the Kings season on these airwaves, either from us, from callers, or from texters?
The offseason is probably going to be more. No matter how much it was during the season, the offseason is really HB cooking time because everybody always looks at that contract. And, HB's a guy who's just, he's known, he's a name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think I don't even know what HB's value at this point is anymore. Like, I don't know how other teams would view Harrison Barnes. Like, how would another fan base besides the Warriors view getting Harrison Barnes on your team?
Well, I would say when we were, and I did cook up some trade generations, some trade generator situations that we will share at some point here throughout the week. Yeah, I would say one of them being the Pelicans with Brandon Ingram. He would be that guy. But that's my question. He would be that guy who is on the bench and it just is part of the rotation and just helps out when your guys need a breath. But that's my question. Is somebody paying $18 million a year for that?
Yeah, that feels like the high end, but also, I mean, like,
because he's not the same. All bench players aren't created equal. You said Grayson Allen got 17.
He did. Yep. 17.
Yeah. Paying Grayson 17 and paying Harrison Barnes 18. A lot of people are going to say that's not what I want to do.
Right. Yeah. No, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's tough because I feel like there's Harrison Barnes, a theoretical player, and then there's Harrison Barnes, like the guy that you actually end up getting. And like, I could say like, yeah, but HB, like he's $1 million more, maybe not as productive, but he is like a bigger body and he's a little bit more, versatile. You could play Harrison at the 2, or you could play him at the 4. I wouldn't want to play him I wouldn't have him guard 2s, but offensively you could run a bigger lineup with him. But I mean, the reality of the situation is, I mean, Grayson is just a lot more productive. So yeah, 18 mil is like that's high level for a bench player. I mean, that is like what Naz Reid is making $13 million per year. So
that's his fault.
That's definitely his fault. If you're playing HB 18, that's, you can justify bringing it off the bench, but you better be getting some sort of, again, you cannot just get a half his minutes, half his production kind of thing. He's got to find how to be productive coming off the bench.
Here's a comparison between Grayson Allen and Harrison Barnes. You have Harrison Barnes, 12.2 points per game. Grayson Allen, 13.5 points per game. And obviously Grayson is 28, so he's a couple years younger. Grayson, 3.9 rebounds a game. You have HB at 3 rebounds a game. You have HB at 1.2 assists per game and Grayson at an even 3 assists per game. So he's making a little bit more than Grayson, who's younger and is more productive. The only thing you can try to sell and say, look, depending on how many touches you think that HB is going to get or how many that he will need to get, I would just defer to, if I'm Monty McNair, I'm saying what happened in 2023, 2024 is just why we have to move him. right? You have De'Aaron growing. You have Sabonis growing. You have Keegan growing. So it wasn't a matter of his production dropping because he's not as good. He got less touches. So that's what I would say. If you are going to get his touches back to that 45 spot, then that's the production you're going to get.
Right.
That's how I'm selling Harrison Barnes to other GMs, and just say, it really just depends on your touches, right? He will kind of morph to whatever it is. If you can get him up to 45, you get 15 points per game, 4.5 rebounds per game, and he's just not really an assist dude. You could pay $18 million for that.
I'm just trying to think of who would be the team that would be willing to.
I don't know, because the problem with the Pelicans, even though Brandon Ingram would be great, is that you don't need any more.
Yeah, you got mouths to feed.
Yeah, you don't need any more wings.
Maybe I can see
honestly,
HB being
a lot of teams have wings.
Wouldn't HB be like a fantastic Heat player? Just like if he were to buy into Heat culture, I could see HB playing like another 8 years for Miami and just being like a solid, the actual Swiss Army knife that we think and talk about.
Yeah,
I can see it.
I don't know.
That's like the only situation where it would make sense.
And I don't think
the
Heat are going to move off of Jimmy.
I don't think so either. Because Jimmy's part of their identity. Like every bit of their, tenaciousness, and every bit of their, hey, you think we're down, but actually we're right where we want you. Like that's all stemming from Jimmy being the guy that he is.
He said he wanted to retire in Miami, so I don't know that they would move off him. All right, when we return, it's time to break down the other forward, Trey Lyles, Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out sacktownsports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on sacktownsports.com.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit khtk.com.
Thinking of remodeling your home? Say goodbye to endless internet searches and visit Subcontractors United. Find a list of 3 pre-qualified and licensed contractors in each home service category. From cabinets to landscapers and everything in between, Subcontractors United makes finding qualified contractors free and easy, with no accounts to set up. Visit subcontractorsunited.com and experience the joy of stress-free home improvement. Save time and money at subcontractorsunited.com.
Maida Chevy saves you $10,000 off MSRP on every new 2024 half-ton Silverado, LT, RST, and LTZ in stock after rebate. Over 50 to choose from.
Exclusive all in-stock pricing at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
See deal for details. M43024.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Elevate your golf game at Timber Creek Golf Course in Roseville. Just named to the prestigious Golfer's Choice 2024 Top 25 Public Golf Courses in all of California by Golf Pass. Timber Creek offers an unparalleled experience. Our revamped practice facility features a grass driving range, expanded putting greens, and a chipping area complete with sand traps. Whether you're a pro or just starting your golf journey, Timber Creek is the place to be. Visit us and discover why we're the talk of Sacramento and beyond. Unwind and tee off at Timber Creek Golf Course. Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Country in the Park is back May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Jay Cohen, Walker Hayes, and more. Tickets start at just $46. Country in the Park, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPFest.com.
Brought to you by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 340.
This segment is brought to you by Aztec Solar. Skip the sales pitch. Calculate your solar savings at yourpowersavings.com.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sacktown Sports.
In today's edition of Weirdest Things You'll Hear, Brendan Nunez, our Sacktown Sports Kings insider, has quote tweeted something that I've never heard of and is just quite bizarre of the highest degree. And look, we don't judge what people enjoy doing in their spare time, but this one is just quite bizarre. So Brendan is just doing his thing, posting about off-season stuff, Jimmy Butler, whoever. Brendan gets a reply from a Twitter profile called Celebrities Breath. Okay? And they tag Brendan and they say, "Hey, Brendan, keeping a close eye on those extension talks, huh? Well, how about catching a whiff of Jimmy Butler's breath to stay ahead of the game? Check it out. Check it out at Celebrities Breath." And Brendan goes on to look it up. Introducing the Jimmy Butler breath in a bottle, the ultimate collector's item for fans for this NBA superstar. Immerse yourself in the aroma of success as you take in the essence of Jimmy's hard work and dedication. Breathe deeply and feel the energy flow through you as if you were courtside cheering him on. They have other people. Jack Nicholson costs $30.99. Tom Hanks is $34.99. Jared Leto, $30. Idris Elba, my twin, $30. Brad Pitt, $30. Who wants to smell somebody's breath?
First off, just how stupid do you have to be to buy somebody's breath and then actually think that there's no way that this company maybe just...
Come on, man.
I mean, I was going to say maybe this company just breathed in it themselves, but why would you even
That is so bizarre.
Why would you even do that? Why would you just sell an empty vial? You don't even need to breathe into it. It's taking it a step too far.
Yeah.
No pun intended. I'm breathless right now.
Yeah.
This is disturbing.
Like, what?
Why is Tom Hanks more expensive than everyone else?
Fantastic question. Fantastic question.
He's $5 more than everyone else.
Also, like, what's the purpose of it? What would be the extraction method? Like, let's just say for a theory.
Here you go.
Let's play the game and say that this company actually did somehow collect breaths.
Your celeb dream.
How did this happen?
In a jar.
Oh, yeah, that smells like Tom, all right.
I'm clicking this. I hope my phone doesn't get a virus.
Yeah, it probably will.
How much do you think? Okay, here we go.
Wi-Fi.
How much do you think Tom Cruise's breath is? If Tom Hanks was $34.99.
Oh, fellow Zaunt.
Right.
Yeah. Better be respectful.
No, Chris, go ahead and
I
lead
wonder
off.
if he gets a Top Gun. Like Maverick just came out. Like I wonder if Relevance has any say, if it's like the sports card market where it's like, oh, this guy's breath. Dude, if somebody dies, their breath value goes through the roof. Are you kidding me? Let's say Tom Cruise's breath. I hope it's not more than, I don't know. How do you properly value $30? $35.
Tom Cruise is the most expensive breath I've seen so far. $45.
I was going to say 54. I had the inverse there.
$45.99.
What are we talking about? Quantity?
Yeah, that's what I was like. Is it a vial?
No, they're all the same. They're three
How
reviews.
many ounces?
Is it like a Ziploc bag that just says like Cruise, Hanks, Butler? Like, is it a Ziploc?
This is
crazy.
Tiny Tom Cruise.
This is crazy. There are 3 reviews.
Can I pay
He's
more
got
for a
5
bigger
stars.
sample of it?
I purchased Tom Cruise breath in a bottle, and I must say it exceeded my expectations.
No. Oh
The scent is subtle yet captivating, just like Tom himself. It's like having a piece of Hollywood in a bottle. Okay.
Yes.
Here we go.
Definitely coming up on Law and Order.
Oh my gosh, this is so funny. I went to Giannis, and it's the same 3 people reviewing Giannis. Do not. I gotta get off of this. I gotta get off. They're tracking me right now.
They've extracted all of his information.
No, they're definitely getting all my information because these are all the same people. All right, quickly.
Is it a similar review, or do they
It's
at
the
least
same.
this spice
is the
it
same
up
guy.
with different people?
This is the same guy. Yeah, they switched.
Okay.
Who gave the 4, but this is the same guy. I recently purchased the breath of Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I must say it is truly a unique experience.
I'm sure.
The bottle arrived in perfect condition, and the breath had a pleasant minty scent. How much for Giannis?
I need to know, like, what's the
How much for his
science
breath?
of, like, would it actually retain a scent? I don't.
How much, Simone, since Chris got to guess the last one, how much for Giannis's breath?
Give me 44, please.
$34.
Oh, that's a steal.
Okay,
that's a steal. Are you kidding me?
I was about
Cruise
to get
is
out, but
45?
okay, I promise I'll get out of this if our boss is listening. I promise I'll stop after this. Guys, I just got to say this. You're not going to believe this, okay? Kawhi Leonard, $32. Only 3 left. Chris Paul, $30. Only 8 left. Luka Doncic, $30. Only 4
That's a
left.
steal.
Okay? Damian Lillard, $30. Only 7 left. Steph Curry, $37, only 3 left. The most expensive guy, more expensive than LeBron James at 30, more expensive than Messi, more expensive than Joel Embiid. I'm not
Jonte
kidding.
Porter.
Kemba Walker, $44.99.
Wow. And there's still 6 left, too. It's
8
not even
left.
like they're running out, and that's
Why is Kemba's more expensive?
I think we found out who's been collecting it, because that's also a tough. Like, how are you getting? Who is there to have the phone number of
Ronaldo
Messi?
sold out. Ronaldo sold
that
out.
makes sense, right?
stop.
I bet Messi still has a couple vials left.
This is real deal.
That's
no,
incredible.
Chris is bringing up an important point. The accessibility here is what we need to.
It's
hard to get Kemba's breath.
It's making me feel like Kemba is the one who's collecting them, because again, it has to be
He's
somebody
just
who's
buying his own
in
breath.
this Rolodex. You have to have Messi and Tom Cruise and Tom Hanks all in your web.
Insane.
And the fact that Kemba's is $45, I mean, he clearly just values himself a little bit high. It's
well, we don't know who sets the price.
That's true.
Again,
That's true.
my
It's clearly
concern
Kemba's company.
also lies with the harvesting. I'm not quite sure how we are.
Do these people know that they're on this site?
It's in multiple vial. Like, yeah, like do
Do
they
they
collect
even
like
know?
a big bag of their breath and then like extract it into mini samples? Or
This
is
is
it just
bizarre.
like, hey,
I feel like
fill this up
an
for us?
out of I feel like I just did Freaky Friday with Carmichael Dave, and I just did a Dave segment.
Yeah.
Someone's got to get me out. I'm
What's
lost.
your guys' okay?
Happy National Raisin Day,
guys, I am going to be vialing some of your breath
Oh,
today.
wow. Oh, wow.
What's the market right now? How much are you going?
You could get my breath for probably 18.
And people will pay
$18.
You could get my breath for 18.
Okay.
I'm trying to think, like, adjusted, if Messi is 35.
That's what I'm saying.
I guess, yeah, your breath is probably half as valuable as Messi.
I'd say so.
At
Wow.
least. At least.
I just went to the dentist on Friday.
Wow.
I'm going to put my line just went up.
Yeah,
I'm going
that's
to put
fresh.
me
Brandon
at
Deitzman.
24.
Wow.
Here's the
Brandon
actual
Deitzman said
question.
I'd pay at least $17. Brandon, who's
Aw.
that for? Who's that for, Brandon?
In a weird way, wouldn't bad breath be more valuable.
See, man, now we're taking a turn.
Disgusting.
I'm just saying, wouldn't it? Like
We're too
everybody's
far
is
gone.
going to smell the same. Like, wouldn't you want like a
You know who I
unique
blame
fragrance?
this? You know who I blame this segment on?
Brendan.
The Kings.
Oh, okay.
The Kings.
I'm blaming Brendan.
You'd still be playing
That's
right
right.
now if you could
That's
finally
right.
beat the Pelicans. Now we're talking about breath.
Yeah, I had a thought about that too. Could you imagine what Game 4 is today?
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine?
No.
Could you imagine
It
if
feels-
the Kings were still in the, no matter what, if the Kings made they would still be in it. This is only Game 4. They would still be in the playoffs. Today, we could be talking about, season could be coming. A gentleman's sweep. Does it do anything for you? Does it change your feelings, your outlook on the season?
I would have loved to be doing that show.
But here we are.
But here we are. Because the Pelicans, and then they
Them
they don't
dirty
do
birds.
anything. They
Nothing.
don't do anything.
Nothing. All of a sudden, Jose Alvarado is just a normal guy, and CJ's back to earth, and
They're going to Texas, not
That's gross.
not Cancun.
Somebody tell CJ that Oklahoma City or the Sonics passed on him.
Right.
Or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Because all this is doing is ticking me off now because the Kings should be playing.
That's right.
They should be playing. All right, when we return, we give our final grade on Harrison Barnes, and we start to dive in to one Trey Lyles. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find Kevin Herter is Sacktown Sports.
Herter's open, steps into three. He's got the triple.
Hey, Sacramento, it's Kevin Herter, and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Waddy here reminding you that not all gas grills are created equal. Bring out all the delicious flavors in your grilled meats with the amazing Napoleon Prestige and Prestige Pro line of outdoor cookers. My Napoleon Stainless Steel Pro Series gas grill has turned me into a grilling pro with features other grills cannot match. They're built different, built better, built to last. Made with premium stainless steel that boasts quality and a lifetime warranty. I may never want to cook indoors again. Napoleon grills and accessories are now available at your nearby Amy's, Ace Hardware in Sacramento, and now El Dorado.
If your passion is bass fishing, only one radio show has the action, information, and excitement of your favorite outdoor sport. Ultimate Bass, hosted by Tournament Bass Pro and California Outdoor Hall of Famer Kent Brown, takes you live to where the fish are biting every Saturday morning. Only Ultimate Bass feeds your passion with the latest news, products, tips, and advice from the pros. Ultimate Bass with Kent Brown, Saturday mornings at 5 a.m. on Sacktown Sports 1140, part of SEP's Saturday Morning Outdoors.
We love the game because anything can happen. There's no sure thing.
How did that go in?
Every play,
Oh my goodness!
every shot,
Are you kidding me?
every swing is a risk if you bet.
I can't believe that just happened.
There's no easy money. There's no luck. And no one wins all the time. If you bet, bet responsibly and always set a limit. Learn more at responsibleplay.org.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
The countdown to Miss Twin Peaks 2024 is on. Head over to MissTwinPeaks2024.com to learn about the contest and cast your 5 votes for your favorite Twin Peaks girl.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave inviting you to make the switch to electric this spring and save big with American Energy. Stay ahead of the spiking energy bills this summer with up to $9,000 in rebates on a new ultra-high efficiency comfort system. American Energy is providing huge rebates from SMUD as well as spring specials by installing one of many incredibly efficient AC options available to you right now. Get rid of those fluctuating gas bills in the winter and switch to year-round all-electric with American Energy. Let them perform a free in-home energy efficiency analysis and see where they can help you save for the warmer months ahead. These guys are the best. Been serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. A+ from the Better Business Bureau. Learn more by calling 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Increase leads and get more customers. We create tailored digital marketing strategies that deliver results. On your next campaign, aim higher. Go to aimyourdigital.com and get started today. aimyourdigital.com.
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Well, that was hilarious. Getting back on track here. Yeah, Chris saw the tweet, passed it on to me, and then I saw Brendan had quote tweeted it and made a thing out of it. Brendan just seems to run into just the most random things. Brendan Nunez.
Yeah, he's got a knack for it.
The one, the only Sacktown Sports Kings Insider. Be sure to follow Brendan, not just for Breath Talk, for Kings Talk. He is heating up his trade generator as well. Now, Chris, I think we both can say that, Harrison Barnes and going into the next season, I have nothing against Harrison Barnes. It's more of just, I think that if you want, not everybody can be untouchable. If you want to improve this roster, yep. Harrison Barnes and Kevin, it's the same names, and I don't necessarily feel bad because this came out before the trade, all the trades were going on before the trade deadline ended. So I think it's obvious what is being talked about. And it's not that I don't want Harrison Barnes on the team next season. It's that I just don't think they can afford to have him on the team from a production standpoint.
Yeah, definitely not in that starting spot. I mean, at the very least, like I kind of go back and forth on whether or not it's like an absolute thing where it's like, we don't need him on the roster at all versus I just feel like at the end of the day, he is somebody that you want to have guys like him on your roster, not just for the off the floor stuff, which of course he's top notch in all of those categories, but like just as a player, it feels like you always want to have that guy where you can put him with any lineup and he makes the lineup make sense. Of course you want him individually to produce better, but just in general, it feels like a 6'8" jack of all trades guy that's coming off your bench sounds awesome. Sounds like something the Kings will probably need if they lose a Harrison Barnes, but I don't know if you can get better without letting him go. So I still think Harrison goes, you're probably going to miss some things about what he can provide, but ultimately I do think, especially with how just the roster is situated, I think he's kind of the sacrificial lamb, if you will, for this team eventually getting better. And unfortunately, like you said, like not everybody can be untradeable, and I think he's just kind of the odd man out in these conversations. He's also just he's the most obvious person to be moved on if the Kings are going to do something. So it's unfortunate, but yeah, Harrison's probably not a person that I think would be on this team if they take a massive leap forward.
Yeah, he's almost collateral damage in a
Pretty
way,
much.
and it has nothing to do with who we think of Harrison Barnes as a player, and definitely not as a person, because we know how great of a person Harrison Barnes is as far as what we are always told by his teammates and the coaching staff. All right, let's get into somebody that it was thought that he could have replaced Harrison Barnes. I would call this season injury riddled for Trey Lyles.
Sure.
I think I would call it injury riddled. So let's get into Trey Lyles and his injury riddled season.
Yeah, unfortunately this season the Trey Bays had to sit down. It was very, very it was just a confusing season from Trey, like you said. Last season or 2 seasons ago, the first Beam team season, I feel like, is the easiest way of differentiating. 74 games, last season 58. That's definitely the biggest differential between the two, because you look at the numbers and for all intents and purposes, they're pretty much the same. 2 years ago, 7 points per game, 7.6 points per game, 4.1 rebounds, 0.9 assists, 45% from the field, 36%. This past season, 7.2 points per game, which is only 0.4 less, 4.4 rebounds, which is 0.3 more, 1.2 assists, which is 0.3 more. He shot 44.5% from the field, which is almost a full percentage down. And then from 3, he shot 38%, which is up from 36. Touches per game, we did it with Harrison. Touches per game this year were up by 3 touches per game, so not really much of a difference there. Pretty much, you got production-wise the exact same thing that you got from Trey Lyles, just with how many less games? With about 16 less games.
Yeah.
So I think ultimately again, you probably wanted more overall from Trey, but we saw some good moments. We saw some bad. I don't think he necessarily took a step forward. I think in a weird way, I don't want to say I'm just unsure about his standing in the core of this. And, I think the core can be different conversations of, okay, top 3 versus who's your starting 5 versus like, who are guys where 2-3 years from now, are the Kings going to want to have Trey Lyles as a part of their rotation? I don't think Trey is going to start, especially not if things are going well, but are you okay with Trey being your second or third guy off the bench 2 to 3 years from now? I kind of go back and forth because what he's given you is absolutely great. I think that's pretty much like exactly what you would write down as what you would want from him, but it also doesn't leave a lot of margin for error. Like if Trey shoots 35% from 3 one season and is down to 6.5 points per game, I don't necessarily think, especially with how we saw the Kings bench perform this season, I don't think they can afford that. So Trey has been good these past 2 years. He hasn't been great. He definitely didn't solidify anything this season, but it was maybe confirmation that he is a guy who belongs in the rotation, but I'm not sure if there's anything more than that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's pretty fascinating to see the stats comparison. And I guess the one thing is when you discuss a team trying to get to the next level, we spend so much time, as we did earlier in this show, talking about the big fish. And yes, you are going to have to acquire just higher level talent. Okay. The Kings have to do that, but you also have to improve from within. Now, Trey Lyles, he's not 30 yet, right? He's 28, something like that. Trey Lyles is a guy who, to your point, Chris, if you're trying to figure out whether or not he's in the future, yeah, I'm gonna be honest. If this is who he is, then
I will
the
say
answer
also, sorry, 3 minutes more per game this season than last, and put up technically worse points per game.
Yes, exactly. That's due to Harrison Barnes. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's a good point. Right.
So it's just a cycle of guys that are just underperforming a bit, and you can't be an 8th man in this West, or seventh man in this West with these numbers.
Sure.
Not if you're not a special. You can have, who can have these numbers? Herb Jones. Herb Jones can have those numbers because he's going to shut you down defensively.
Right.
What is Trey Lyles really good at?
Spacing the floor is what he would be out there for, but it's 1.5 threes per game. And that's replaceable. I mean, frankly, that's just replaceable. And it's the versatility of being able to play 4 and 5 and not feel completely lost.
So that's where I'm at with this. Yeah. If you're going to continue to improve as a player, as you're starting to really hit your prime,
28 years old.
He's 20. That is literally your prime. If you're going to show up and I don't know, they did not sign him. When you sign somebody, it's not really to continue to do what you're doing. You're hoping it's at least, but you're hoping that they improve.
Yep.
So the idea is if Trey can get that up to 9 points, be a little bit better. 9 points per game, 5 rebounds, get you an assist, play some good defense, higher percentage. Then you can be a seventh guy in this rotation.
Yeah.
But you're not winning anything with your 7th guy putting up these numbers and not either shutting down somebody or grabbing a bunch of boards.
It's the Jokic thing, or it was either Jokic or Mike Malone, right? That said you can't, in the playoffs, you can't just do one thing. Like you have to be filling multiple roles. And to your point, like I know Trey is out there to stretch the floor, but if he's not doing that, is he an elite rebounder? I don't necessarily think so. His per 36 had him at 8 boards per game, which I guess is pretty solid. I would take 8 boards per game in your per 36, but it's the defensive stuff, still under a block per game in his per 36, not really protecting the rim. And then, I mean, like a lot of his inside game, I didn't love his inside game this year. I think we talked a lot about, how it really was. He continued to try and push it into the paint and didn't really find much success. He really was best as a stretch 4, which is great. Like, I think he's really good in that role, but with how much the Kings had to rely on him this year, to your point, I don't think he was good enough for the amount of reliance that the Kings had on him.
Mhm.
They needed him, Davion, and Malik to show up every night to have some sort of bench pop. And, maybe it's too big of an ask, but I just don't think he was consistently there, both physically and when he was out there. Like, there was a couple, he very hot and cold. A lot of the same way we talk about Kevin Huerter, it did feel like a lot of this season, Trey Lyles was either up or he was really down. And you just can't have that from your bench guys, especially when your bench isn't that deep.
No, you have a combination of guys who are lacking in certain areas, and you're hoping that one of them is feeling good. That the only one that's not is Malik, and that man is a starter. Okay, and he's probably going to be a starter after this season, whether it's on the Kings or somewhere else. I know, don't want to talk about it, but that's the truth. So when you look at Trey Lyles, and it's all right, what is Trey Lyles doing tonight? Davion Mitchell, all right, what is Davion doing tonight? Keon Ellis, all right, what is he doing tonight? You cannot have that many guys on a bench. Okay, so it's not about me not wanting to have Trey Lyles on the roster. It's about me looking at these numbers and saying, based on who else is on this bench, that as a seventh man is just not going to fly if you're truly trying to compete at the highest level. If you want to keep messing around and hopefully you break a 6 seed one of these days or you win a play-in, then that's with him like this. Trey could be listening to this right now and say, you know what? And he comes back and he's at 9 a game. He's at 10 a game and he's doing other things. Then I'll shut up because that's different. You need more production out of your seventh guy in the rotation.
No, and it's really not that hard. Even looking at the numbers too, like he can get up to that 9 points per game pretty easily. He's at 7 right now. I'm looking at his free throws. His free throw attempts per 100 possessions, which is a created equal stat. Normally it's around 5 per game. Last year he was at 2.9 free throws per 100 possessions. Shot 70% from the line this year also.
Yeah.
So both of those are pretty near his career low. This was the second lowest free throw attempts per game and his lowest third or fourth lowest free throw percentage. So he just gets to the line 2 times a game, 2 more times a game. It very easily can get up to 9 points, but he's got to be more consistent and he's definitely got to be better.
Get in your bag, Trey. When we return,
Please.
Continuing the Trey Lyles conversation. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
Guys, are you ready to give up because you think you've tried everything and you're still dealing with loss of energy, poor sleep, weight gain, and even ED? Revive Men's Health Sacramento has local medical providers that offer low T and ED treatments customized to each patient's unique physical makeup. By working with a specialized compounding lab, personalized treatments are guaranteed, even when generic pills and supplements haven't worked. It all starts with your free comprehensive exam and consultation. Availability is limited. Book today, and for this month only, Revive offers qualified patients a free 1-month supply of personalized ED medication, plus a free ED treatment producing immediate results. The experts at Revive Men's Health Sacramento will work to provide the right treatment for you so you can show up as the best you in all aspects of your life. Call 916-365-4566. That's 916-365-4566. Or send them a private message at revivemenshealth.com.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a colonial with high ceilings, hardwood floors, and a peaceful neighborhood. And you found it. Now, every Saturday at 6 a.m., you get to wake to the sound of your neighbor's leaf blower. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at progressive.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
You go into your shower feeling, but as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.
ZZ Top, the Elevation Tour. Friday, May 3rd, 7:30 p.m. The venue at Thunder Valley with special guest Foghat. ZZ Top, playing all their classic hits. The venue at Thunder Valley. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the network made for streaming. Well, the legend of Mason Miller keeps growing, and what a place to showcase his talents than Yankee Stadium. After the elbow injury last year, Miller has made the transition this year in a big way from starting to relieving. His 8 fastballs in the first game of the series averaged 102 miles an hour, including 102.5 to strike out Aaron Judge to end the game.
Want more speed? Well, Xfinity just increased their internet speeds, and they're faster than ever. It's time to get more out of your internet with faster speeds from Xfinity. Now through June 21st, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for only $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. That's double the speed for the same great price. Click, call, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and other charges extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com. Were you recently in a car accident? Don't let the insurance companies push you around. Turn to the experts at Gonzalez Law. Our team specializes in car accident cases, wrongful termination, and criminal defense, fighting tirelessly to get you the compensation and justice you deserve. With years of experience and a track record of success, we don't settle for less, and neither should you. Visit SACLegalDefense.com or call 916-304-9187 for a free consultation. Gonzalez Law, your advocate in the fight for justice.
This segment is brought to you by Aztec Solar. Skip the sales pitch. Calculate your solar savings at yourpowersavings.com.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento, the only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Sacktown Sports.
Rotation, and then once we're done with the rotation, we will do a more abbreviated breakdown for those that weren't really in the rotation, and that will happen really throughout the offseason, however long it takes. We'll be doing it by position. So today, Harrison Barnes, who we've already done, you can check that out on YouTube or on the Sacktown Sports app, and we are in the midst of breaking down Trey Lyles. Chris on the Sack Chat, a lot. Shout out to the Sack Chat, by the way. A lot of Trey Lyles convo on the Sack Chat from Kempio Silva. Stiles and Watkins trading Lyles for who? 2 question marks. We are not trading Trey Lyles.
We said Trey Lyles.
We did not say to trade Trey Lyles. No. We are just breaking down what we saw throughout this season from Beamer, Beams, or Beanley. Trey won us the first road game in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. He was on fire. Yeah, he was nuts that game. I think he had 4 threes, something insane like that.
I think that was like the first game he had came back.
Exactly.
From an injury
and I'm thinking, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and not that you're going to expect that every game, but they were just games where, look, Harrison Barnes was essentially getting pseudo-benched throughout the game. So for Trey Lyles to basically have the same numbers that he had last season, like Chris said, more minutes and was slightly not as good, right? That's saying something. From amid rock, Trey just needed minutes. He was injured for the most part, can't get any rhythm going with inconsistent playing time. I'm not against that, right? I don't know what to do with that either, though. So next season, hopefully he doesn't get injured. And then we're hoping for a jump to maybe double figures off the bench, maybe right under double figures off the bench, a couple more rebounds, a little bit better defense. That's what we're hoping for, because I'm not trying to trade Trey Lyles unless it made sense in a package. I just don't really know what Trey Lyles' value is.
Yeah.
It would be a sweetener at that point.
Yeah, I mean, you would throw him in as a sweetener, but you're not getting anything. Like, there'd be no point in trading Trey Lyles to try and get a Trey Lyles replacement. He's about as solid as you're going to get at that, for a bench spot. And, ultimately, Trey knows exactly where he fits in this rotation. So it wouldn't make a lot of sense to move on from him or try and replace him. But we're just essentially saying we would like a better season, and it's not just going to be Trey that we're going to say this about. I mean, this team underperformed, and when you underperform as a team, there's probably a lot of individuals that individually underperformed. So we're not necessarily saying Trey needs to be moved on from, not saying not to rely on Trey the same that they did this season, but we're just saying next year, if this team wants to meet the place where they want to be, Trey Lyles is going to have to be better. And I think even Trey would admit that he's got to be better than he was this season if this team wants to be better next season.
Yeah, and the one thing that's it's just getting me, Chris, every time I think about it. And it wasn't just Trey. I mean, the stinker, and it wasn't as bad as some of the other stinkers, but the stinker that the Kings put up in the play-in, and all you really needed was 98 to 105, and all you really needed was one guy to step up. De'Aaron Fox, 35 points. You have Sabonis with a double-double, 23 points, 14 rebounds. Harrison Barnes even gave you 17. Keegan, he had the injury. He wasn't on, and you did get 10 from Davion, but that was kind of once it was a little bit too far gone. And you're just looking at can Keon Ellis. I mean, Trey Lyles only played 13 minutes. He had 3 rebounds and put up a donut. He didn't even have 1 point.
And
a winner go home.
Yeah, you needed better. You absolutely needed something out of him. And, you can even look to last year in the playoffs where, he was just a bit inconsistent. It felt like in game 1 and 2, which is typical. Usually they say your role players play better on the road or at home than they do on the road. But looking at the playoffs last year, Trey Lyles, game 1, incredible. 16 points, 6 of 8 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3, 6 rebounds. Game 2, 0 points, 4 rebounds. Game 3, 2 points, 5 rebounds. Game 4, 5 points, 4 rebounds. Game 5, 5 points, 5 rebounds. And then game 6, back. This is in Golden State for the surprising 19-point win to send it to game 7. Trey had 12 points, 9 boards, and then in game 7, 6 points, 7 boards, which everyone was bad in game 7. But that's just, you need a little bit more consistency there. You can't have boom or bust. You can't have 16 points or 2 or 5. It needs to be a lot more of 8 to 16 points. Your bad games can't be that bad. Maybe that's the better way of saying Trey needs to improve, is just by saying he needs to make sure that even on his bad games, he's still giving them 2 threes. He's still giving them 5 to 6 rebounds. He's still providing some size in the paint. So maybe that's just the better way of saying what we want to see out of Trey. But regardless, I think we want to see better.
From the sack chat, Lyles moves into the starting lineup if Barnes is traded, at least first off the bench. Let's just play the game. Let's just say this year.
Sure.
Because we don't know who would come in a trade. So let's just say how much better are the Kings this season if Trey started instead of Harrison Barnes?
I don't think they are better.
I think at the beginning of the season and maybe the first 30 games, we were all clamoring for it. But the more, and some of this is injury, but the more I saw Trey, the more I thought
he's good where he's at,
I don't really think he's going to add anything. It should be obvious.
Yeah.
It should be obvious. I mean, They weren't even willing to move Kevin Huerter until he got injured.
Yeah.
And Keon at one point made it fairly obvious when he got an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And you also have Malik Monk, who that there was something different going on there. But if it wasn't obvious with Malik Monk, or they could find a reason for it to not be Malik Monk, I don't think you're trading Harrison Barnes for an upgrade.
Yeah.
If you trade Harrison Barnes, and unless it's for some stud guard, if Trey Lyles is in your starting lineup after you move Harrison Barnes, that wasn't a good trade.
Mm-hmm.
And that is no disrespect.
Exactly. No, 100%. Like, I think Trey is just at a point where he's a good bench player. And like, that's not putting him down. It's just the reality of the situation. Not everyone can be a superstar. Not everyone can be a starter, but Trey Lyles is really, really good coming off the bench. Right. And he is somebody who I think in a majority, I can't, we can do the exercise of how many playoff teams Trey Lyles is in the rotation for, but I do think there's a good amount of teams in this postseason that Trey would probably get minutes for. So I think he is somebody who's deserving of that role. I don't know if necessarily elevating his role, just same way we say cutting Harrison Barnes' minutes in half might lead to half the production. I don't know if doubling Trey Lyles' minutes is going to necessarily double his production. I'm looking, and granted, this is a bit of a cherry pick stat because he does have a lot of in-between games that were really good, but the 3 games this season when Trey Lyles played more than 30 minutes, 7 points, 6 points, 9 points. Doesn't necessarily mean he's going to produce. Yeah. Like I said, it's a little cherry pick too, because in the games where he played 24 to 29, he has some 14, 10, 12, 10, 11, 15, 19, 10. So he's produced when playing more minutes, but it's more just to show just because he's getting those starter minutes doesn't necessarily mean he's going to have starter level production. So it's no disrespect to say I don't think Trey Lyles is a starter for this team. I think he can still be a really big impact player. It's just a matter of consistency because we saw, Malik Monk couldn't have bad games for this team to their bench is so crucial because of the inconsistency that we saw in the starting lineup that Trey really couldn't afford to have the off nights that he did.
Let's put it like this, okay? Not so much in this industry, maybe somewhat in this industry, but more so for other office jobs and things like that. It is no surprise because we know how companies are. We know companies want to save money, and we know, not like when our parents were working jobs, you have to advocate for yourself. Companies these days, they're not going to say, you look like you're doing a great job. You want a $20,000 rate. That's not what happens. For the most part, you have to advocate for yourself. So a lot of times what ends up happening is that you're doing the job that you're trying to get promoted to before you actually get promoted. It's this weird chicken or egg thing that happens all throughout the workforce. They want to see you do the job before they pay you for doing said job. That is also, as far as I'm concerned, what happens in the NBA when it comes to being a starter. It has to be so obvious, a la Malik Monk, then that is when you make the move, okay? All right, it's pretty obvious that Malik deserves to be a starter. After 2 years of doing this, he can be in the starting lineup. Right. You don't get the ability or the benefit of the doubt to say, I think Trey would be better as a starter if we gave him more minutes. That's not how it works.
Not good teams.
Not good teams.
Yeah,
and not even the Kings.
Teams that are desperate do that.
So that's how I see it. You have to show that you should be a starter before they make you a starter. No one is going to assume if I give him starter minutes, then he'll be a good start. That's just not how it goes. And a lot of times, just like in the workforce, if you really want that promotion, what happens, Chris? You got to leave. It's not going to happen on the team, which is, we'll see what happens with Malik Monk.
Exactly.
You're not just going to, no one is going to, in a perfect world, they trick off games anyway. Looking back on it, would I have loved to see Trey Lyles just start that Pistons game or that Hornets game because they lost anyway? Sure. Yeah. But we didn't think they were going to lose those games.
Right. Yeah. If you realistically want to be a threat in the playoffs, I'm sorry, you have to have a better starter than Trey. Like Trey Lyles for Harrison Barnes, at the best, I would say it's a linear move. Like if we're talking about this team getting better, I don't think Trey Lyles necessarily is somebody that's putting this team in a better situation. I think he can make them better by being better, but I don't necessarily think that he has to start in order for him to have that kind of impact. I think the Kings desperately do need to improve at that HB spot, but I don't think Trey Lyles would be a big enough boost. And, it's just, I think he's limited. Like, I think he's limited, but I don't want this to be a negative conversation. It doesn't have to be.
No.
It's just he is who he is, and I think he's a really high, I wouldn't say high level as in like 6 man of the year candidate, but he's somebody who just about every team will have as their 7th or 8th guy in their rotation. And I think that's perfectly fine that's exactly where the Kings have him at. I just think he needs to produce a little bit better, get to the free throw line a little bit better. And I think we're talking about really having no complaints about Trey Lyles.
Yeah.
And he could be a spot starter. That's
Right.
one thing to say.
He
can absolutely be a spot starter, but if we're saying Trey Lyles starting 50 plus games, I'm sorry. That's not how this team gets better.
No. And Trey Lyles, who he is, let's say they don't move Harrison Barnes and Trey Lyles is in the same position and Trey Lyles is averaging 12 points and it's very obvious that he needs more time, then we'll have the conversation after next season. But based on this season, I don't think there is any need to have that conversation. We give our final grades on Trey Lyles and Harrison Barnes when we return. Then getting in to some Niners talk, their draft,
crazy,
and the Raiders and who they drafted as well. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
What's the missing piece for the 49ers?
Which names will they add during free agency? Whether it's in season or off season, the coverage never stops. Get the latest 49ers news on Sacktown Sports at sacktownsports.com.
Hey there, wanted to take a moment of your time so I could talk to you about insecurity. I could talk to you about confidence. I could talk to you about girth. Yeah, what? Girth? Yeah, okay. Let me tell you about the Upsize Clinic at upsizematters.com. My good friend, Dr. Jack, and his friend, Dr. Pash in San Francisco, have a safe, effective, long-lasting doctor-performed procedure. It's non-surgical, virtually pain-free. Now listen, girth is consistently ranked as the most important attribute. What Dr. Jack and Dr. Pash are offering is a free consultation. The procedure can be done on the same day as your consultation and get that confidence back. Reset in the bedroom with your partner. Financing is available. It's very private. It's very discreet. Available in Roseville with Dr. Jack and San Francisco with Dr. Pash at upsizematters.com. That's upsizematters.com.
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Do you want Trey Lyles on the squad next season? Before we get into the grades, yeah, I think this is an easy one for me. The answer is yes. I think that Trey does have a lot of potential. I would love to see him healthy for a full season. So my answer is yes.
I absolutely would love to see Trey Lyles back next season as the leader of the Trey Bays. Absolutely have to stick up for my guy, and I fully believe that he can be a huge impact player for this team. He's still signed for next season at $8 million per year. I think it's full steam ahead on Trey, and hopefully they're definitely banking on Malik still being there, but I think they still are hoping that those two guys, well, we'll see about Malik coming off the bench, I guess, but I think that Trey is a big part of their bench plans. And, ultimately I do think they really like his versatility being they played Trey. You could argue they played Trey at the 3 at moments this year when they would go with Sabonis, Sasha, and Lyles. So I think they like the fact that they can kind of spread Trey at the 3 if they need to go big, or they can play him at the 4 or the 5 as well. So I think Trey is here to stay, and hopefully he can just kind of improve on all the things that we've been talking about. And I think if he really, we're talking about such a small margin of improvement. I think if he makes that tiny difference, that going into this season. I think we don't even talk about Trey at all, like in a total positive way. Like I think that it's just Trey's doing what we need him to do, and that's just kind of a position that you set and forget. And I think that's what they hope to get out of Trey Lyles, is just somebody they don't really need to think about.
Right.
In a good way.
In a good way. All right, my grade we'll do Trey and then we'll do Harrison Barnes. For Trey, they might be kind of similar. I think just because Trey did have some injuries, I'd probably give Trey a B-.
I will give Trey, I'm going to try and be a tough grader here. I'm going to give Trey I'll give him a C.
Oh Lord, you're giving Trey a C?
I'll give Trey
we still got to
C+.
do Harrison Barnes.
I'll give Trey a C+.
Okay, so I got Trey at a B-. Chris, leader of the Trey Bays.
Yeah. And this is relative also to like where we think, obviously, like an A season from Trey is probably 10 points per game, shooting 40%.
Yes.
So yeah, I'll give Trey a C+. I think he definitely could have. I think he left a lot of meat on the bone, and the injuries this year, being in and out of the not rotation, but being in and out of the lineup, I think just kind of hurt his overall production and
flow,
value
rhythm,
and all of it to the team. Like he just didn't really feel the impact of Trey Lyles didn't feel as big this year as it did last year, especially looking at the numbers being the exact same. The numbers didn't hit quite the same this year as they did the year previous.
Yeah, we're pretty close. I almost said 2.7. I had a B-.
Yeah.
You had a C+.
I'm saying like a 78 C+
yes,
too. And you could be like an 82, 81 B-.
Yes.
You know?
Now let's have some more fun. Yeah. Harrison Barnes, who we still need to do his grade. If Trey Lyles is
I'm definitely staying in the C range here, and I'm trying to figure out if I want a C or a C+, because again, it is kind of on a curve. HB had the highs were really high this year. That Golden State game is arguably his best game as a King, period. I'll go C+ just because of that stretch, just because of the revenge tour. And then at the end of the year, he did kind of step up, but ultimately this was a very Harrison Barnes season. This was pretty much what you would expect if I were to tell you Harrison Barnes lost a quarter of his touches. What do you think it looks like? Well, I'd imagine it'd probably be a worse version of what he was 2 seasons ago. And I think we pretty much got I don't think what we expected out of HB, but I think given all the circumstances, HB kind of he fit the mold of that inconsistent, I don't know what you are. Some people think you're great. Right. Some people think you have no business starting. And I kind of feel like he fell somewhere in the middle throughout the total production of the year. So I think I'm going to, C. I'm going to give it a C, but this one's a little bit more of a 76 towards a 75 to 74 solid C range, but barely a C+.
May I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Which student would you prefer here if you're the teacher in this analogy?
Oh, probably Trey, because I feel like there's more. HB, I'd be disappointed. Okay. I would be like, Harrison, you're a better student than this. Okay.
Right.
We all know. Okay. We all know that you can do better than this. Okay.
I mean, he's been in different environments. What you said, worst season since he left the Warriors. I mean, that's saying something.
It really might be. I mean, like the Dallas seasons were really inefficient, but he was at least like starting to touch like 20 points per game. This year, I mean, it was just like a flat note. It just wasn't much.
Yeah, I'm going to go C. It doesn't feel right to go C- with HB because I don't think it was a C-, but I definitely can't go C+. I think it's C right on the nose because it's exactly what we thought it would be. When you think he's going to get rolling, he disappears. And then when you've already kind of cast him to the side, he pops up for a couple games here and there. And he did end the season on a decent note, which probably got him out of the C- range into the C range.
It's like the oldest 31-year-old I've ever met in my life.
He's seen some things.
A lot of he's seen some things.
Yeah.
He doesn't act like he's, 31 years old. He's about to be 32 actually coming up here.
May
3rd. Tomorrow. Oh no, not tomorrow. I'm sorry. A month from tomorrow.
Like he's a Gemini. I know that.
There you go. Amid Rock says send HB to detention. I mean,
Is that the bench?
That is the bench,
Yeah.
but can
Does
you
it help?
afford to do that?
Yeah.
Is that you need a tutor? What's going on here, HB?
tutor.
All right.
And like, what
see.
happens with his what do we think happened? Like, he's a pro,
If you
like
moved him-
ultimate pro, but like, yeah, what happens to his confidence moving to the bench?
I think he's the one person I wouldn't worry about that with.
I would think so. Like emotionally for sure, but like on the floor, like
What do you think HB thinks he is at this point?
that's a great question.
You know what I mean? Does he think he's out here cooking?
I think he thinks he's a glue guy. And
you
I
can be a glue guy from the bench. You can glue
Good.
glue your butt to the bench. How about that? All right, when we return, Niners talk. What is going on with the red and gold, their draft decisions? And Adam Schefter has some things to say, an update on Ayuk and Debo. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Subscribe to Sacktown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus view archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sacktown Sports.
This is Kenny and Jerry from Bell Brothers Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Everyone knows that a group of fish is called a school, but did you know a group of giraffes is called a tower? Or how about a murder of crows, a quiver of cobras, a shadow of jaguars, a shiver of sharks, or a zeal of zebras? Wild, huh? So what do you call a group of Bell Brothers plumbers? They don't fit into any of the traditional plumber stereotypes. They're clean and well-dressed. They're on time and courteous. They're well-trained and friendly. They're exactly the kind of people you'd be comfortable and confident to invite into your home. That's why we proudly call them our family of plumbers. If you need a drain cleared or any other plumbing service, we'll send one of the family right over to help you out. Call Bell Brothers at 916-444-1234, or you can find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
The PGA club fitters at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio know that golf should be fun. They also know that players of all abilities will hit the ball farther and straighter, play better golf, shoot lower scores, and have more fun if they get fitted before they purchase golf clubs. Hagen Oaks delivers the same technology and major brands used to fit PGA and LPGA professionals. See how the game can be even more fun. Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
Country in the Park is back May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Jake Owen, Walker Hayes, and more. Tickets start at just $46. Country in the Park May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPFest.com.
Brought to you by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 340.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is, live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Thinking of remodeling your home? Say goodbye to endless internet searches and visit Subcontractors United. Find a list of 3 pre-qualified and licensed contractors in each home service category. From cabinets to landscapers and everything in between, Subcontractors United makes finding qualified contractors free and easy, with no accounts to set up. Visit subcontractorsunited.com and experience the joy of stress-free home improvement. Save time and money at subcontractorsunited.com.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
The handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10-5. Touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sacktown Sports.
This segment is brought to you by Aztec Solar. Skip the sales pitch. Calculate your solar savings.
Sacramento's official home for the San Francisco 49ers.
Sacktown Sports.
49ers and their draft. Ricky Pearsall, first round. Renardo Green, cornerback, second round. Dominic Pooney in the third round. Malik Mustafa in the fourth round. Dominic Pooney is a guard who may be moved to tackle, Chris, I was reading.
They were saying that he could play all 5 spots, which, I to me, that means that he isn't a starter pretty much. It means that if somebody goes down, that's probably the person that they're going to look to, just kind of plug and play anywhere and make the rest work. So, it's really a guard, but I guess they believe that if push comes to shove, maybe he could play tackle. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Tackle is a position that you probably don't want to just, oh yeah, it's fine. We'll figure it out. Not really the best idea, especially when a lot of people, especially going into last offseason, Colton McKivitz was almost like everybody hated him. I know right. Nobody was a big fan of Mike McGlinchey, but I don't think anybody believed that Colton McKivitz would be a 2-year starter here, especially when you talk about this championship window. It just seems like a bit of a risk. And that's definitely the biggest conversation that I saw, was just a lot of people just questioning, are we sure that was the right pick there with Ricky Pearsall?
And I was reading, there's Niners media that's very pro Niners, there's Niners media that's very anti Niners, and we fall somewhere in the middle here, where the last time the Niners were in a position like this, they went and got Trent Williams. So I think the thought process is they were never looking at the draft to fix the issue.
Sure.
They will try to fix it via trade or something like that. You had Isaac Guerrero, running back. That was the tank, who's 200. It runs a 4.3. Jacob Coing from Arizona, another burner, wide receiver. Jarrett Kingston out of USC, a guard in round 6. And Tatum Bethune, that he is a linebacker from Florida State. And yeah, the grades here, which they're so funny, right? Because we don't know anything.
No.
But 49ers Web Zone has kind of given us what everybody said, the different outlets. And the Ringer gave them an A-. The Niners. Pro Football Focus gave them a B+. You have USA Today giving them a B, NFL.com giving them a B, Sports Illustrated giving them a B, ESPN, Mel Kiper, your boy, gave him a B-. Yeah, Sporting News gave them a C-. So I'm sure Niners fans are going to find
they don't even read that.
Yeah, we know. They're going to find a way to say that's the worst. Who are they anyway? Yeah, so pretty good grades. We'll see how it turns out. Were you surprised at all of, I guess it was just 2. I mean, you only get 7 rounds, right? Were you surprised that they took 2 wide receivers?
Yeah, that just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, it feels like receiver is definitely a place where they're super solid at. Even having Juwan Jennings, and you
add Danny Gray on the team.
You still got Danny Gray, Ronnie Bell. You've got tons of guys at that position where I just wouldn't think that it's something that you would spend 2 top 4 round picks on. That's pretty insane to me. Yeah, 2 top 4 round picks. That's just, it's a lot. I mean, that is a lot for a team that has very real needs this season. And that's the one thing, when we talk about people who, the Niners media that don't really favor a ton of Niner decisions, I think that's the one thing that I think really sticks out to me, is how much of this draft actually helped the Niners better win a championship this season. Like, I don't know if any of these moves, maybe you could argue the Florida State cornerback helps this team. I think DB was definitely a big need for this team. They had to address it in either the first or second round, but you have, and I know linebacker isn't really a premium position, but are they okay with Dre Greenlaw, who's not going to be there for the rest of the season, to take a safety in the 4th round when, I'm sorry, I thought Hufanga was coming back this year. So
there are questions about Hufanga.
There's questions about his future too. Yeah. I think the one note that I saw, how much of this draft seems to be more preparing for 2025 over 24, because again, Ricky Pearsall, he's not somebody who's playing, or even if he is playing this year, the receiver the Chiefs took out of Texas,
Xavier
Worthy. I'm sorry. he's going to play for the Chiefs this season. Like, he's going to be probably the Chiefs' number 2 receiver. Who knows what ends up happening with Rashee Rice? But Ricky Pearsall, at best, is going to be their 3rd receiver. And Juwan Jennings, I still think, has a really, like, why would Juwan Jennings not be their 3rd receiver? So that moves Ricky Pearsall to their 4th receiver.
I mean, it's getting insane. And look, maybe, and it's not a matter of us being wrong because we didn't make the picks. We're not saying whether it's good or bad, but now it's turning into, well, the Niners needed guys that could get separated. The Niners were the number 1 rated offense last season. Now it's turning into, well, the Niners, their guys couldn't get separation. To me, anybody that's saying that is a direct shot at Debo.
Yeah.
Because Brandon Ayuk can get separation.
Sure can.
That is not an issue for Brandon Ayuk. So are you? They're just saying that Ricky Pearsall is going to add another dimension that apparently, Kyle, because if you're just going to go pro Niners here, hey, if the Niners say they needed it, they must have needed it. Right. They know better than us. Okay. You know what I mean? If that's your take, that's fine. Yeah. But if you're going to spend your time as a Niners media member, policing fans on them overreacting to just being a fan, then it's going to be a long day for you.
Yeah. No, and especially like when they don't trade for Debo, or they don't trade Debo or Ayuk either. No. Like, it makes it seem like, okay, and I know we probably aren't going to get to it today, but like, I know there was that the Mike Silver piece that called this the last dance. Like, it just didn't feel like a good draft from the Niners' perspective. Like, again, especially
for a last dance.
Exactly. That's the key. If this is truly going to be the season where you put all your chips in the basket, it doesn't feel like you've done that. It doesn't feel like you've put all the chips in the basket. It feels like you're hedging your bets. And again, trying to do this dang Bay Area two timelines BS. And I can't do it. If you're trying to win in the past and in the present, or I'm sorry, in the future and in the present, you end up not winning at all. Yeah. And that's the thing where, maybe this is a slight admission that maybe John Lynch doesn't think that there's a title in this window. Maybe this is their way of saying we're trying to extend this run for as long as possible so we have as many bites at the apple as possible, but we're not going to ever go all in on one season, which I wouldn't argue with that, but that doesn't seem to be the company line. Okay. The company line has been, we have this window. We need to maximize this window. And it feels to me more, when you look at the reality of these picks, is that these guys are as maybe as they should be, are planning for the future and trying to keep this thing going as long as possible. I just don't know if that's a lot of belief in Brock being able to lift this roster after he gets paid. And I'm still not sold on that part of it.
Yeah. Well, the question is, who won't be a part after the last dance and who still will be a part after the last dance? Let's hear from Adam Schefter and what he had to say about Debo and Ayuk. He was on the Pat McAfee show.
I think what happened is at various points during the offseason, they had inquiries about Brandon Ayuk, and they decided they wanted to try to sign him to a long-term contract that they're still trying to get done. They had got a couple of inquiries on Debo. Nothing got close to getting done. And they said over the weekend, and I believe this is the plan, that the plan right now is to move forward with both those guys. Now, here's the deal. Ayuk has not signed that contract. He's headed into the last year of his deal. Juwan Jennings is headed into the last year of his deal. And Deebo Samuel is headed into the last year of guaranteed money on his deal that has 2 years left. So clearly, there are wide receiver questions in San Francisco that they're going to have to address. So they got out in front of it this weekend by drafting the 2 wide receivers that they did, including Ricky Pearsall in round 1. And Ricky Pearsall, the funny thing is he wanted to go to San Francisco. That was the place he mentioned before the draft to a few people that he wanted to go to. He winds up there in a perfect spot for him, making some of the catches that he has. And now the Niners don't plan to move on from either of those guys. Now, could that change at some point? Sure, absolutely. And by the way, if there's a team that all of a sudden has a wide receiver injury and makes a big play, could you pry loose one of these guys? It's not what they would like to do. It's not what they're planning to do. It's not what they want to do. But clearly we know that there are some wide receiver questions out in San Francisco right now.
So how, after hearing that, and please, if I'm off base here, how is this much different than what the Falcons did? Where it's, again, like you're drafting for something that's a future problem. And I don't necessarily know if you had to address that right here, right now. Like the Falcons are already thinking about, what if Kirk isn't as healthy as what we thought? Oh, 3 years down the line when Kirk's not on contract, we're going to have Michael Penix right there. It sounds to me like the Niners are pretty much saying, in 2 years or next after this season, we are going to have a receiver problem. Let's try and get in front of it. The problem with both of these logics are, what about this year? Because it kind of seemed like you were trying to build for this year and you didn't help. You just kind of punted on trying to help out this year's team. Ultimately, it might not matter. The Niners had more than enough talent to win the Super Bowl last year. A couple of things go their way, they would have won it this year. So you could argue the talent's there, and they're just, again, trying to extend this thing as long as possible. But I just think that there's some really big gaps in that defense that could have been addressed, or offensive line, absolutely, that could have been addressed and helped not only this team this year, but could have also helped in the future. So I'm not saying it's not going to work. I just think the process, the draft process, wasn't necessarily the most sound logic, I wouldn't think.
Well, and it just turns into people trying to defend two different things. Well, Ricky Pearsall and the way he tested, it was so ridiculous. You just couldn't say no. They wanted to get their guy, but also Debo or Ayuk, or Debo is done with guaranteed money after the season. So you're using too much to just defend the move. Which is it? Is it? And it could be both to a lesser degree. But no. We had to get him now because that's how good. So if you're taking Ricky Pearsall where they took him, you're pretty much saying that you think this boy is going to be a number one. Yeah. He's going to be that dude.
Yeah, he's going to be on the field.
Next, I guess once Debo's gone, it's going to be Ayuk and Pearsall.
Yep.
And that's going to be a better duo than Ayuk and Debo. That's what they're
equivalent. Yeah.
Or equivalent.
Yeah.
As good or better. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying, because
I'm not there.
And maybe, hey, even if we take a small step back, we have to pay Brock. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. All right, when we return, continuing to talk Niners, also a little bit of Raiders. They didn't get a quarterback. But why? Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Can Mike Brown build on last season's Coach of the Year award? Can the Kings exceed 48 wins?
We will be better prepared to make the run that we expect to run come next playoff.
Tune into every Kings game this season on Sacktown Sports and sacktownsports.com.
Grab the keys to a new Toyota. Get ready to take on the great outdoors in a brand new Toyota truck. Answer the call to adventure with powerful performance and start exploring. Right now, get low 1.99% APR financing on the powerful 2024 Tundra and Tundra Hybrid. Or check out the all-new redesigned 2024 Tacoma. Toyota, let's go places. Offer available through TFS to buyers with premium-rated credit. Excludes DRD Pro. It's 4/30/24.
Kevin Lewis with National Garage Door, reminding you that in Sacramento, National Garage Door is the king of garage doors. We service, sell, and install garage doors and openers. Call us today for your basketball special. A new 16x7 Rainer garage door with installation and a belt drive opener for only $24.49 installed. Give us a call today, 916-638-4554.
638-4554 National Garage Door.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6580. That's 800-583-6580.
If you're looking for $500,000 to $1 million or more of affordable term life insurance, we're Term Provider, experts in finding affordable term life insurance for those that may not be in perfect health. Prostate cancer, heart conditions, high cholesterol, or on prescription medications, you may still qualify for $500,000 to $1 million or more of affordable term life insurance. Call Term Provider at 800-337-4168. 800-337-4168.
Were you recently in a car accident? Don't let the insurance companies push you around. Turn to the experts at Gonzalez Law. Our team specializes in car accident cases, wrongful termination, and criminal defense, fighting tirelessly to get you the compensation and justice you deserve. With years of experience and a track record of success, we don't settle for less, and neither should you. Visit SACLegalDefense.com or call 916-304-9187 for a free consultation. Gonzalez Law, your advocate in the fight for justice.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Guys, are you ready to give up because you think you've tried everything and you're still dealing with loss of energy, poor sleep, weight gain, and even ED? Revive Men's Health Sacramento has local medical providers that offer low T and ED treatments customized to each patient's unique physical makeup. By working with a specialized compounding lab, personalized treatments are guaranteed, even when generic pills and supplements haven't worked. It all starts with your free comprehensive exam and consultation. Availability is limited. Book today, and for this month only, Revive offers qualified patients a free 1-month supply of personalized ED medication, plus a free ED treatment producing immediate results. The experts at Revive Men's Health Sacramento will work to provide the right treatment for you so you can show up as the best you in all aspects of your life. Call 916-365-4566. That's 916-365-4566. Or send them a private message at revivemenshealth.com.
Lead generation is one of the most important aspects of any marketing campaign. Let us help you identify your target audience and market your products or services to them. Go to aimyourdigital.com today. aimyourdigital.com.
All guests come to you from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Joined by Whitey Gleason of the Drive Guys. Whitey, as we have broken down the Niners draft.
Breaking down?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Breaking on down.
Breaking.
Well, there are a lot of bricks. That's the Suns. We're going to get into them as well. But the Raiders don't are fans just can you help me here? Fans are just supposed to be
I can help you if you
after
can
a
help
draft.
me with something.
Sure.
How's you're all recovered now, right?
Not fully. Like I haven't played basketball yet.
And you were, and I know this because I looked up, you were a good baseball player. I mean, not only did you have to be good to play in college, but you were a good college baseball player.
A long time ago.
Yeah. So you probably still got game.
I'd say so.
Okay. Because I got a team that.
What's going on here?
I'm not on the team, but I'm from Vallejo. Okay. I love Vallejo. Vallejo has a new baseball team.
The Seaweed.
Yes.
Really? The Vallejo Seaweed?
Yes.
Okay.
I just found out about this weekend. You want to see the hat, Chris?
I would
apologize,
love to.
dear viewer. I can't listen. They used to be the Santa Cruz Seaweed. They moved to Vallejo, so and they're looking for players. But it sounds like you're already interested.
I saw somebody that I know. No, I saw somebody that I know.
It's like a seaweed monster.
Trying out or playing.
That's come on, that's Seaweed Man.
Let me
Seaweed
see
Man is how he
Let me see
prefers to be.
Yeah,
addressed.
I thought he was Mr. Seaweed.
That's kind of legit. I don't like the top one, but I like the bottom one.
Well, that's the alternate.
Yeah.
That's like batting practice.
No, I saw a couple guys I
Not
know
really menacing.
that are
seaweed.
Yeah.
Mr. Kelp to you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. Exactly. Capital K. Yeah, Whitey, I did see that. I'm not. First of all, I can't do it because of this job. Let's start there.
I will drive you.
Hey, I'm coming off an Achilles. I'm 34 years old.
Months. The season starts.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because they didn't when I did graduate, a lot of the indie ball leagues, because that was the whole thing. Okay, well, I'm trying to get a job, whatever it was. They're jobs, right? I mean, so you're well, but I'm saying you're playing for a long time.
Yeah.
And that was kind of, all right, do I play indie ball and try to keep the dream alive or just get a job? And then I tried to look and see, are there anywhere it's just kind of chill, part-timing if somebody happens to see me? And no, a lot of those indie ball leagues, they're pretty hardcore. And this one seems to be a little less hardcore.
Time to revive the dream. I want to get Jay. I don't know if Jay could still play. I think he could.
Jay.
If he can't, he'd be the skipper. I think he'd be a fine skipper.
A great skipper.
Yeah, for the Vallejo Seaweed. Player manager. Get you out there. We're on our way. We're going to win this Pecos League.
There's the Pecos League, but that's not the league the Oakland Ballers
That's
are in,
what I was
right?
going to ask, right?
I don't think so. Because there's the
YOLO.
YOLO.
You got your sights set on them?
Well, there's the YOLO High Rollers. That logistically makes the most sense for me.
Okay.
They're indie ball too.
There's also the not St. Mary's, pardon me. Marysville Drakes. They're in the Pecos League.
Where is Marysville?
Marysville's just up the road.
We're going. We're going.
Marysville's where the amphitheater is, right?
Do you know when tryouts are so I can just try to hit a home run?
That's Wheatland.
Oh, okay. But don't you have to go through Marysville to get there?
Sure.
Okay. Maybe I'm imagining things again, Alan.
I'm just trying to see if the YOLO High Rollers are also they're in the Pioneer Baseball League. So I think this
You're
Pecos
way better
League,
than Pioneer League.
I would like to go to a tryout and just, if I hit a home run, I can leave. So we might be there all day.
Anyway, all right. Well,
Yeah.
I was going to help you. You helped me already, so how can I help you?
Well, good thing I never lose my train of thought here.
It was about fans.
How should fans feel after drafts? Isn't it fair to be really upset after a draft or to be overly happy? It's really bugging me. There's some media members out there that are trying to analyze and police fans on social media and say, you should always agree with what your organization does, or on the other side. And it's just bugging me because no, they don't. They don't get paid to do this. They're fans. Who cares?
Anybody who grades a draft, and people have to do it for a living, obviously.
Right.
We have to do it. Everyone has to do it. But anyone who seriously does that is a moron, right? Right?
Tough.
I mean,
Yeah.
right after the draft.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
with like any conviction.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, we all have to do it. But, you know, if you believe in that, you're an idiot. So, right?
I mean, I agree. As a team, as a fan of a team that just took JJ McCarthy, I'm just waiting. Like,
No, you're grinding film,
I
though.
mean, I
You're
am,
grinding
but I'm
film.
not
That's
going to
great.
make any sort of conclusion. I'm not going to come on these airwaves and tell you, like, I'm telling you, the Vikings just got a guy. Like, I just think it's insane for anybody, NBA or NFL, to publicly say. I mean, our guy Matt George just got shown that, you know, you really got to be careful on making declarative statements about these young guys, because you'd be surprised. The ones that you don't expect to work out end up working out. And the ones that you really are like, this is a for sure can't miss prospect, sometimes those guys will burn you.
I, in fact, have already graded the next 4 49er drafts.
Wow.
Did you?
Next year, B. After that, C-.
And they took 4
Natural
more wide
regression.
receivers.
Yeah, then a D, and
Oh,
then
you don't even want to know about the running backs.
then a C+.
Okay.
I feel
Wow.
really good about it.
Yeah.
Good.
That's big.
Good.
That's big
All
if they
right.
can do
Let's
that.
get over to
Extend the
basketball
window.
here. Suns. They're going to blow it up. I mean, how embarrassing. How embarrassing.
I didn't think they were going to be that good. I really didn't think they're going to be that great this year. So to me, it's like, yeah, what do you expect? They don't have, as you guys probably know and you've discussed, they just don't have any options available to them this offseason.
Oh, yeah. There's no pivots.
Yeah. They don't have any draft picks. They don't have any like mid-level. They're so far into luxury tax that is not available to you. So I don't know what they're going to do other than trade Kevin Durant to the Kings.
And that's exactly what I was going to ask you. Why do you like,
but that was on the
seriously?
list. But
Yeah.
you know what name is going to come up. And are you including that name?
What name? I don't have to include him. I already checked it out.
Keegan Murray.
I don't have to include Keegan. I mean, for the salaries to match, I got to throw in some draft capital.
Right.
Sasha, Davion, Herter, Barnes. This trade is successful.
Okay, so we were both on the trade generator. But I don't know if the Suns pick up the phone on that one.
Well, I have to give him a lot of draft capital probably to make him. Yeah.
Yeah. How much, like, I don't even know what KD's value is. Like, I mean, I know the Suns gave up quite a bit to get him over there, but I mean, he's 36 years old. He's got 2 years, $100 million left on his contract. Like,
a really good year.
I don't know if that's something that the Kings would
he's
want
just
to
never
sign up
happy.
for.
I mean, it would be so much fun in the offseason, but the poor guy, for whatever reason, wherever he is, he's like, yeah.
Oh, and forget happiness. No, don't forget happiness. But like with KD, like, I mean, we had a Suns writer on earlier this year, and he kind of questioned, like, what's KD's motor like these days? Like, is he really hungry for another title?
Heard you guys talking about that, and I was watching him last night with that in mind. And last night, anyway, he played hard.
He wanted it.
Both ends.
Him and Book. It was not their fault yesterday.
I almost feel as if this season might work against KD and lower his value if you are the Suns, because that was a hard year for KD. Bradley Beal not being out there for a good bit, Devin Booker. So if I'm a suitor, if I'm Monty McNair, I'm saying, hey, he's 36, and it wasn't as if he was
he's 36.
It wasn't as if he was just chilling throughout the whole season, right? He was really having to put in the work.
First team all league this year.
He could be.
Yeah.
He could
be in minutes per game this year. KD.
Yeah, that's not great. That's not great. All right.
37.
Well, we know the Drive guys are great. Whitey Gleason, Kyle Draper taking you 6 p.m.
We'll see.
All right. However long they feel like going. Thank you for listening to Stiles and Watkins. Thank you to Simone. Thank you to all the callers, the texters, the Sack Chat. Until tomorrow, secure the bag, light the beam.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
A handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does.